Is there any questions at this time?
No questions, but I got a motion. My motion is that we go through with this banishment.
We got a motion by
On Tasha Renee Fredia, who's a non-member. I'll give my motion.
Motion by Councilman Steele, second by Councilman Poyer. Roll call.
Donroy Gosper.
No.
George Dreamer Jr.
No.
Troy Little.
No.
Craig Dillon.
Yes.
Lyle Weston.
No.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston.
Yeah.
Bo Little White Man.
Yes.
James Cross.
Yes.
Garfield Still.
Yep.
Julian Spotted Bear.
Yeah.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder.
Yes.
David Kelly.
No.
Beef Randall.
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.
No.
David Poyer.
Yes. Eight yes, 8 no. Got a tie. And my vote is no.
You need these back?
If you would, they'll
Yeah.
collect them.
Yeah, put him forward. Fails.
Motion failed. 8 yes, 9 no. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over to the secretary.
The VA.
Oh,
Yeah, the VA.
it's under yours, right? Okay, all right, before the secretary. Okay. All right, I stand corrected. I do have it marked down above the secretary's office, so. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Shawnee, the VSO for the tribe.
Good afternoon, council, guests, everybody listening. My name is Shawnee Keith. I'm the Tribal Veteran Service Officer. I'm also the acting facility administrator for the Oglala Sioux Homeless Veteran Shelter, and I have some gentlemen here. I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Good morning all, my name is Jameson Hilt. I'm the Deputy Network Homeless Coordinator for VISN 23, which is our service area all the way out here in the Dakotas, Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota.
Good afternoon, thank you for having us. My name is Joe Bonison. I am the Network Homeless Coordinator and U.S. Army veteran. I hear there's a lot of Marine veterans out here. So really appreciate you giving us the time to come and try and support you this week, so thank you.
So today we have to discuss an urgent, time-sensitive matter regarding our VAGPD grant that we were conditionally awarded. And I know that it was previously discussed that it is a pretty large debt. And so I didn't know if you guys had wanted to enter into executive session or if you guys wanted to keep it open or not. But I'll leave that up to you guys regarding that. If not, we can just dive into it.
Go right into it.
Jump right into it? Okay, alrighty. So, as you know, I've been providing updates regarding the VAGPD grant. We submitted it. We were conditionally awarded last week, 2 weeks ago. And so, from my understanding, as of last Tuesday, we had signed the grant agreement and submitted it through EGMS, which is the VA's grant management system that they utilize. And then as of Friday this past week, I was notified because we had already established that there was a debt of $2,414.55. So I was directed by the treasurer to voucher it out and create a check, which I did for repayment, so I do have that repayment. However, it was identified on Friday that there is now another debt of $146,458.71. A letter was sent to the tribe May 12th, 2022, addressed to President Killer, and we have not made that repayment plan. It was identified that we had self-reported our own debt via the 425s that were submitted that year. And so there were unobligated funds in that amount that went into the homeless veterans shelter. I'm not sure where that money was reabsorbed at. This is an issue that I inherited through working through this grant, unfortunately. And so that's the issue that we have. We had a SAMS issue, and we were able to address that. I believe there's 2 SAMs number, one is inactive and one is active. The VA allowed us to go ahead and reopen our grant so that we can utilize the active SAMs number. So we have to get a grant agreement signed today by Mr. President Frank Starr comes out, and then we also have gotten an extension to July 6th to address this payment plan. I know that Vice President Dr. Musso, myself, these 2 gentlemen, we all met at the Chief of Staff's office to kind of discuss what our next steps were and then bringing it here to council because it's such a large sum that we had inherited for a debt. One of the things that we want to make very clear is that we need to get that grant agreement in. By, what is it, maybe no later than today or tomorrow?
So they gave us to July.
For the agreement.
Can you use the mic?
COB, okay, so yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
So, thank you. So I was notified Friday morning, as Shawnee had mentioned, and as soon as I found out, I flew out on Sunday so we could meet Monday morning here to try and support you to the best of our abilities.
The dates that we need to have
Yes,
every
the
piece
dates.
in.
So for the grant agreement, they really need that no later than July 1st. So that gives us tomorrow to get that final corrections into the system. I was able to finally get through to the VA Finance Service Center, and so we have until July 6th to do the paperwork for the debt process.
Yes.
And I was able to find out this morning from the chief of that FSC accounting office that once the plan is in place, they have roughly to the 31st for the first payment to be made of July in order to avoid referral over to TOPS, which is the Treasury Offset Program. And so that was just the information we've been able to pull together and share over the last 2 days. Shawnee and the Vice President and others have done a ton of work on trying to get this thing moving forward as quickly as possible. So I just really do appreciate everything you all are doing to try and get this program restarted for our veterans out here. And anything we can do, we want to try and support you to the best of our abilities.
Question, go ahead.
So, Shawnee, what exactly do you need in the resolution to state to get it moving forward to meet the deadline by tomorrow?
Yes, so I will have to enter into EGMS and meet with the compliance officer. His name is Justin, and I've been working pretty closely with him. I'll have to print out the grant agreement. We'll have to get it signed by the president, and then once that's completed, we will send it back to him, and that's for that conditional award. And then we have to also establish a repayment plan for this $146,000 and some change. Because it was self-reported through our 425s, previously, I do believe a debt waiver was submitted at some point, and we were trying to find out if it was a formal debt waiver that was submitted previous administrations, but it was denied because we self-reported it. And so we have no choice but to actually pay it back. And as Mr. Bonison has stated, we have until July 31st of this year to do so, to make the first payment. And I did include that check for $2,400 to be repaid as well within that plan. We had met, I know that Vice President Russo was working with Jennifer Hughes to contact the financial center for that check.
Shani,
Yes.
the short version. What I'm asking is what you need us to say in the resolution to get moving forward by tomorrow.
Oh, repayment plan, basically, that you guys are gonna pay it back and we need to fall within all those parameters that I just listed out.
Steve, can you get a resolution in place real quick?
Wait, I think Jennifer Hughes is assigned to.
Oh, is she?
Yes, yes.
So, is Jennifer aware of this?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I think we need to get her online and just to make sure she knows all the details so we can get this corrected.
Break it up.
So I spoke to Jennifer each evening, she's called me, and we spoke this morning. She was in a meeting at noon Eastern time, she should be available now, I believe.
Because we don't see her online. Go ahead, we have a question here, hang on, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, President. I did reach out to Ms. Hughes earlier, and I'm not aware if she's busy or not. I did bring it to your attention that if we need her on, we can probably message her for a quick update. However, I want to say thank you to Shawnee Keith for bringing it to our attention, and she's been very communicative with us and what's going on with that grant and what her needs are. But I also want to thank the gentlemen as well because they gave us a brief explanation outside and what we're handed to or inherited. And like I said, with everything else, our mismanagement of money is catching up to us. And I say our because when we sit in these positions, we inherit everything that comes with it. So we have to own it. And the payment plan, usually it's given to us in a restructuring or some type of a formal letter. What exactly, we didn't have that in the email that Ms. Hughes sent out to everyone. What exactly does it need to state? You have something that we can approve in option 1, option 2, how we're gonna do this repayment. That's what we're needing to know. Because what I have from Ms. Hughes is one repayment plan for $146,000. Research and ask for a waiver of that debt.
So I did talk to FSC and I talked to Ms. Hughes. My understanding is there's really two parallel paths. What we need by the 6th is a signed VA form to enter into the negotiations piece of the debt repayment. That happens through the Finance Service Center. Separately, the tribe or its representative could also go to the VA Debt Management Center and request a waiver or other consideration of the debt. But those are two separate tracks. It is the FSC process that is holding up the grant, and it's the FSC process that would make referral over to TOPS if it's not addressed by the 6th and then 31st for the payment.
Okay, usually a form is attached so that we can review it and approve it. So we have that, we can review that, pass that in support of it.
Okay, so we don't have supporting documentation, like I said, this kind of fell into our lap, so I do apologize for the unpreparedness. One thing that we want to make very clear is that we, beginning July 31st, we have to start the repayment process. We actually have 36 months to do so as well, so we would need that language in there that we need to ensure that we have this paid off before July 31st, make our first payment, and then move forward into the 36-month payment, which roughly equals out to $4,068 and some change.
Right, so that part we got, but we need to, we can't just make a motion off the floor.
I understand, so I believe they're working on a resolution. I'll have to get with Jennifer Hughes. Like I said, I was unprepared because of this, but we can definitely get one together. Would you like me to come back with that, or?
Right, can you bring that back tomorrow for us to?
We might be able to, the VA form itself, we might be able to print out.
A resolution
Oh,
attached.
okay. So then we'll just give you time for later in the day to have that.
I can run to Kim's office and we can draft a resolution and bring it back for you guys. So today, that way we don't have.
The Jen will
Yeah.
have something available.
Okay, all right.
But also, because of this, mishandling of the funding, or not mishandling, the management of it, I do want to make a motion, once we're done with this, for a formal investigation to be done on the veteran shelter funding. Because again, we're back to having to make up for someone's actions in this circle that we inherit, because it does fall under us. And it's gonna be looked at as, oh, the tribe is mismanaging it. These are individuals who are taking advantage of funding that are given to the tribe to utilize for our people. There she is, perfect.
Okay, Jennifer's on now.
Jen, we're on the topic of the VA and the homeless shelter.
Okay, I can tell you what I know, if you'd like me to know. I don't know that I know any much more than everyone in the room, to be honest. I just know that the homeless shelter grant application, has been submitted, that's my understanding. And I was called late last week by Lisa at the legal office to see if I could help try to find a contact and figure out what was going on. And so, is this fine? I'm sorry, President and Finance Chair, for me to just jump in and start talking?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sorry about that. So what was reported was that the application was being processed, but there were two debts that were identified. One a little bit ago that was like $2,400, and then one that is in the amount of $146,458. And that, at least if I understand correctly, has come from we were told is that the federal government was overbilled, that the per diem rate changed from like $31 per night to like $90 per night. And so it was self-reported that there was an overbilling of the federal government of $146,000. I think the tribe is trying to look into that, is my understanding. The VA contact, who I believe is in Pine Ridge as we speak, to help provide technical assistance, had met with the Vice President yesterday, maybe others, maybe Ms. Shawnee, to try to figure out what to do. And so it was proposed, the plan to be, to try to do a repayment plan with the, what's called, I think it's the Federal Service Desk. I might have that wrong, I apologize. But to try to do a repayment plan, with the VA through the Federal Service Desk, and then at the same time research what went on with this $146,000 and request a waiver. As I understand it, there was efforts to put forward a waiver in 2023, but either the waiver wasn't actually submitted or the waiver was denied. And so I'm sorry I don't have clear facts on this. This is just me trying to convey what I know at this point. But I know that there's a proposed plan in consultation with the VA contact that the tribe could, if it chooses to, put forth a repayment plan for this, $146,000 amount, so that your grant application can be unstuck. And then in the meantime, simultaneously be working on getting a waiver of it, researching it and asking for a waiver. But that's all I have at this time, so I'll stop talking.
So when will you come back? So
Go ahead.
you can bring back the form that we will need to approve for signature. And how long?
You have it in your inbox. We can go take care of that and bring it back. Maybe a couple agenda items down. Did you still need a resolution to pass for this? Okay. I know that Mr. Bonison, you're departing tomorrow?
I'm here through tomorrow, I have to fly on Thursday morning, but
Okay.
anything I can do to help.
Yes, so whatever we need to do, I do have a prior commitment, as I've been on leave all week, tomorrow. And so whatever we can get done today, like I said, issue was inherited, and unfortunately, we were under the impression with the conditional board that we were fulfilling all the grant requirements given to us until this was identified on Friday morning. So again, I apologize for the unpreparedness.
That's fine, if you can bring it back. Jen, can you work on the resolution as well?
Yes, would it be for the proposed kind of steps, the repayment plan?
Yep.
Plus a research and a waiver request?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Steele?
I was just gonna say, I mean, we know the logistics. I really don't think we need any of the individuals present. All we're doing is approving a resolution.
Councilor Gosper?
Thank you, Chair. Shawnee, you say you just found out about this last Friday?
Yes, so working the grant process, like I said, I'm only the facility administrator, and since I've taken this under advisement from the veterans shelter, I was not privy to the financial records because the account was closed once we lost the grant years prior. And so I inherited the 2,400.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
not like pointing fingers
Oh, no,
here.
you're fine, I'm just giving you a kind of a big picture, just so you know, but I was notified on Friday morning of this $146,000 debt.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at, like I said, it's just
So-
kind of happened.
So are we in jeopardy of losing the shelter over this?
In my opinion, if we do not receive the grant for the veteran shelter, I don't know if the tribe has the financial ability to continue to pay the bills through general fund.
Well, I mean, I know this is before you inherited it, but I just gotta just say this is kind of, I don't know, this came in 2022. So I don't know whoever was sitting on it before then kind of put us in a bind. And it seems like we always come to this stuff last minute when there's about 3 days. So I don't know who, I don't know. I guess we'll take care of it till today.
And I do appreciate everybody's willingness to assist. I know that this kind of happened out of nowhere, so we're doing our best to kind of just put together what we can, and then move forward with all
All
the
right,
facts
well,
that
thank you
happen.
guys for, all right, thank you.
Councilor Kelly?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I do have a couple of questions. All dialogue's good dialogue, but there was reference to our 425s, and I don't understand how we got past the 425 process if it was essentially a disallowed cost. That would be a question that, we've been having issues with our audits and how, I just don't understand that. The other question would be, have we identified funds as to how to make this payment? Have we talked about the logistics as of yet? And I do know we're apparently on roughly a 30-day time frame currently. The last recommendation, I do know, and probably right now our tax base is really not the greatest. We have seized and put a hold on some of it, but we do still have money available. And I hate to say it again, but that motor fuels tax money, which is the people's money, and I'm pretty sure they all care about our veterans and whatnot. We have money available to pay that thing off in full and just get it off our back right now. That's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'd just like to clarify that these funds were not disallowed costs. It was funding that was unobligated, and once it was unobligated and the financials were done, it was reabsorbed back into our tribal programs, which were the financial audit, internal investigation would come into play to see where those funds went. It wasn't spent, it was unobligated funding during COVID that had been reabsorbed back into our, I don't know which fund or which line item or account it went into, but it was unobligated.
I have the Veterans Committee Chair here who wants to speak, so go ahead, Councilman, and I'm gonna let him speak after you. Yeah.
I guess there's just two things when I'm catching that we have to take care of. One of them has to be signed before tomorrow, right, or by
By
tomorrow?
tomorrow, yes.
So is that the one we're needing a resolution for?
No, that one would be the grant agreement. It basically just states what the grant is, everything that was already accepted already.
So, okay, so when we just need to take council action to accept that?
I believe so, President Starr has to sign that.
And then there's one that's due on Monday, which is the 6th. That one there probably needs a resolution for the repayment agreement.
That's
So-
correct.
So if we just take the action to take care of the first one too, that they're saying.
That's your motion?
I'll make that.
That's your motion?
That's all it takes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you for all allowing me to speak in front of you. Josie Eagle, the chair for the Oglala Veterans Committee. And the veteran shelter is something that's always been within the council, our committee's hindsight, meaning the tribe has handling the business for the veteran shelter. The tribal VSO, she falls under the chief of staff, and the tribe has had to pay the bills for this veteran shelter. And the way we see it is we have a $600,000 grant that's getting ready to get pushed out to this veteran shelter. But when we look back, how many veterans did this shelter serve? For the past 4 years, we know it served only 4 of them.
6.
Well, 6. And what we're asking, I guess is the committee, what we're asking, not I guess, but we're asking that looking forward, we have a whole organized group of veterans, and we have these resources of this veteran shelter. And we're asking that we be involved onto the making of the policies. The way we see that veteran shelter is that it should be serving more than a handful of veterans. It should be servicing a lot of veterans, and it should be pushing out its resources to the housing. An honorable, discharged honorable veteran, they get a home loan, right? They pay 30% of it. Why aren't we working together in order to make sure that these veterans have a home? Why don't we work with housing? Those are the kind of things we want to push into the future. So as a committee, as the chair, when it comes to this issue with getting this stuff signed and getting this grant going, I say do it, it's a good thing. But going forward, if we can have the committee have an opportunity to really make sure something like this don't happen again to this resource that we have here. It's a really good resource, and we can make the most out of it by putting our heads together and turning over veterans. There's a lot of resources available to the veterans, like the DOM, the housing, and the tribal VSO. She works hard to make sure that the veterans have those resources available to them. We have to empower that, but she can't do it alone, and that's what she's been doing. And so we want to work together to make sure this veteran shelter doesn't end up like this again. But any questions? Thank you.
Someone had their hand raised over here. Go ahead, Council.
Dave, did you have a motion?
Yeah, dude.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, hang on, the attorney wants to chime in. Okay.
Resolution? Oh, okay. Could you restate that motion? The beat was weak.
Well, they said all they need is a motion to take action to accept the grant. Because that's be done today or by the first, so, but there's another agreement that has to be signed by Monday, the 6th, and that's what will be worked on.
Yes.
They'll have to come back later today or tomorrow, or whatever. But that one has to be done ASAP. No, I understand it.
What I'm told is that the council today will need to make a motion to authorize the president to sign.
Right.
That agreement.
That agreement.
And that document is coming, so I think if you,
Thank you.
So there's two pieces here. There is the grant agreement that we need the president to sign. That has to be done today. You've received an email with the VA form that probably should be signed by the president as well. That form would go back to the VSC by email, as I understand it, and that would start that process where you would work with the VSC to develop a payment plan and then negotiate through that process. So that form starts that process.
is that form, the same as the agreement?
Two separate documents.
So you need two motions today.
Yes, for those. Yes.
I'm just motioning that authorize the chair to sign that agreement, which is the deadline is today. Am I correct? There's two agreements that need to be signed, but I'm just motioning the one.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. There are two different pieces. The first piece is this grant agreement, which is currently in the computer, that Shawnee will get, print out, and have the president sign. The second piece, which I think council is working on right now, just waiting for the email to come through, is the VA form to start the repayment process. So you've got two different documents. So one document has to be signed by tomorrow. That is the grant agreement to the president.
That's the one I'm motioning.
Okay, all right, grant agreement.
And the other one is
Okay, all right, Councilman Goldsberry, and then Jennifer has her hand raised.
Chair, I'll make that second motion to lower repayment. Is there like a set payment to it? Not yet, okay.
So,
She's working it up.
yeah, it has to be done, the first payment has to be made before July 31st of this year, and it has to be 36 payments.
Okay, Jennifer?
Yeah, President and Council, thanks. Yeah, I was just making sure that there is no repayment plan prepared yet. It's just to, the council would be saying it would enter that process by completing the form that Joe was mentioning, Joe Bonison from the VA, which would start the repayment process. But I can do a resolution on that piece, the repayment process, if you'd like that. Otherwise, perhaps you could do it by motion, and I will get Steve's thoughts on that to start the repayment process. Or we can do a resolution that starts the repayment process by submitting that form by July 6th. And if I heard correctly just now, to do the first payment by July 31st and have 36 equal payments.
Jennifer, there's the form is called the financial status report. Do you have that form?
I do.
Okay. And I think a motion to authorize the president to complete and file the financial status report by July 6th would be sufficient.
I agree. I think that would get the repayment process started. And then we can work from there.
Okay. Councilwoman Spotted Bear.
President, I'm gonna ask if we can stay on track with, well, approve the first one, because we need to discuss the second one, because where's the money coming out of? If we know that there's no funding in the general fund and we're tight on funds, we need to identify where that's coming from. We can't do that without the treasurer here giving us a balance. Can we pass this one and then we can discuss the second one?
Yeah. So, Davey, you have to ask the motion maker if that's okay?
No, because that's in the second motion. The first part is just to authorize you to sign a grant that we're eligible for.
Okay.
It has nothing to, my motion has nothing to do about the repayment plan.
Okay, all right, so we got it, so we got a first and we second by Councilman Ghostbear. Oh, by Councilman Standing Soldier. Roll call.
For clarification, I have a motion to approve to take action to authorize the OST president to sign the grant agreement for the veteran shelter.
Right.
And the name of it is EGMS VA Grant Per Diem Grant Agreement.
Donald Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little, Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Good.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall, Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Yes.
Okay.
14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
Sure.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Spotted Bear.
And my motion would be to approve the financial status report, or for you to sign the financial status report.
And file it by July 6th.
And to file it by July 6th.
Okay, so we got a motion by Councilwoman Spotted Bear, second by Councilman Ghostbear. Roll call.
Donroy Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Good.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall, Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Yes.
Fifteen yes, 1 not voting, motion carried.
President, I'd like to make a second motion that a internal audit be done on the veteran shelter.
Okay. Motion by Councilwoman Spotted Bear, second by Councilman Little.
Is that or
Yep, through,
IG?
yes, through our IG. Remember, we have a IG newly established, so it would go through her. She sent out the packets, so,
Yeah, I got it.
okay.
Roll call.
Donroy Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Good.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Yeah.
Fifteen yes, one not voting, motion carried.
Thank you all for your time and have a good day.
Thank you.
Carry on, Taylor.
7:05, Marie.
17.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, the Secretary's office, and I'll turn it over to the Secretary.
Yes, she did. Thank you. Good afternoon. Before you, I did email these out to save paper. Tribal Council minutes for approval, May 26, 2026.
Motion. Motion by Councilman Standing Soldiers, second by Councilwoman Spotted Bear. Councilman Little Thunder. Roll call.
Don Roy Bear,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall, Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Thirteen yes, three not voting, motion carried.
request for motion to approve executive committee minutes, May 13th, 15th, and 20th, 2026.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Standing Soldier, second by Councilman Little Thunder. Roll call.
Don Roy Bear,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall, Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Thirteen yes, three not voting, motion carried.
Thank you, council. That is all that I have for the secretary's office.
Okay, I do, moving on to our next agenda item is the comptroller, but I do believe since she's in a meeting right now throughout the day, so if she shows up, we'll let her do her report. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is the treasurer's office. Treasurer is excused today, this council session, and should be attended wake and funerals. But in place, in that slot there, we do have some guests here to talk a little bit about federal highway program, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Chair. You know, we've had a lot of issues, especially when it comes to our audits, and we're all well aware. But for us to shun the efforts of a program that's real vital to the tribe, you know, we at the transportation department are pretty vital when it comes to the overall impact of this reservation. And, you know, it's been, it saddens me to know that Mr. Byrd and Mr. Todd Brockman from the Federal Highway Administration had made every effort to come and try to resolve the issue when it comes to our audits and our federal program highway agreement. We were one of the first tribes to ever have such an agreement, and I think we're probably the last out of the original 5 to still have that agreement in place, if I'm correct. But with that being said, I'll just introduce Mr. Byrd, come on up, and Mr. Brockton, you can come on up. And I'll just yield the floor to you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll be making most of the comments today. Todd Brockman, just to introduce. Thank you. So I'm Matt Byrd. I just want to introduce Todd Brockman is the tribal coordinator that works with Oglala with their program agreements. So his presence here is because he has a very ongoing relationship with you all. This is my first time being here. I am the finance manager in the Office of Tribal Transportation. I manage the funding that goes out for transportation throughout the country. Makes me feel important, or at least makes people think I'm important. My primary role is just to get funds to you guys. There's really no self-importance involved in that. But I am very grateful for the invitation to be here. As Councilman Kelly indicated earlier, we've been kind of sending letters trying to communicate some urgency the last year or so. And the urgency is mounting. I appreciate the introduction of what that urgency is. And I also come not with the intention of like trying to bring bad news and say that it's our goal, our interest, we value this relationship, we value this agreement, we do not want it to end. As Dave said, you all were one of the first tribes to sign a program agreement back in 2005. In fact, Congress gave the authority to do these program agreements about 5 or 6 months before you all signed. That's how quick it was. It was early adopter, and we value that relationship. We value the long-term standing. So, to introduce myself, so I am the finance manager. So some of the things that I do, one of them is distribute the funds. So when the president, you sign those documents that have all the funding on them, I'm the one generating those to send them out to all the tribes to be signed. I'm also the one that issues the payments to get the funding out to you after those are signed. So that's my primary role. One of my secondary roles, which is also important, is being the finance manager. I also am responsible for making the determinations for whether tribes are eligible to receive funds under a program. So what does that mean? I look at a lot of single audits. I'm looking at single audits almost every week, looking to see what's been submitted, looking to see what findings are on them, and looking to monitor. So when a tribe voices an interest in signing a program agreement, I'm the one that goes and looks at the most 3 recent single audits. Because the only requirement, the only actual requirement to have a program agreement with Federal Highway Administration is to have the 3 most recent years that have occurred those single audits submitted and with no uncorrected findings on them. And so when a tribe voices interest, I go in and pull those last 3 audits if they're available and make that determination to see if we can sign a program agreement. Along with that, that requirement is ongoing. It actually is an annual requirement to validate that a tribe is eligible to continue receiving funds under the program agreement. So what I have to do on an annual basis is look and see, do we have the 3 most recent audits and are they clean, as is the term for saying that they don't have any findings. And if there are findings, then it's my responsibility to see if they've been addressed. Having the finding itself does not mean it's the end of things, right? If it's been addressed, that's corrected. The law says no uncorrected findings. So to give you a little history as far as the urgency that Councilman Kelly's trying to communicate, up until 2019, our relationship with regard to single audits was pretty spotless with Oglala. And then the 2019 audit was about a year late. And the timing of that year late was important to the conversation because during that time was when Congress authorized the next round of the law for the Federal Highway Administration. And so there was a brief time where we could not sign a program agreement because the 2019 audit was late. But it got signed in April of 2022. We were able to move forward. But it did raise kind of cautionary tale back then. We talked about, we can do this, but if the audits continue being late, it's going to delay funding and potentially could end up causing the program agreement to expire or be terminated. History from there, from 2022 until the beginning of 2025, no further audits were submitted. And we had to begin holding funds for the nation. Significant funds, pretty much all the funds that were available, we had to hold. We were able to kind of find excuses and ways to maneuver around that to get some funds to meet critical needs, some bridge funding, some safety funding, and one window opened up in 2024 where we were able to, all the funds we were holding on to, we were able to issue those funds kind of in one lump sum they've been holding up. But all the delays were due to just the single audits being late. So the good news is that since the beginning of 2025 until middle of May this year, 4 of the 5 late audits have been submitted, which is actually a phenomenal effort. Everybody that's been involved with that, however they've been able to pull that off, that's a phenomenal effort to do 4 audits in 2 years, so I want to acknowledge that. And it makes me optimistic for my ask, which is the end of this September, coming up September. I had mentioned that 5 years ago there was an authorization act that Congress passed that we had to hold on to the program agreement because of the audits. That situation will exist again when they pass another, because the current authorization expires September. And so when an authorization expires, the reason why that's an important thing is each time that happens, the law changes, right? Our authorization changes. We have to revise all of the program agreements to incorporate the new conditions that the law changed. And so we're required to basically let the old ones expire and start new ones. And so that's where the urgency comes in for today, is that if the 2024 and 2025 audits aren't submitted by the time we start looking at that, we will not be able to renew the program agreement at that time. Because I won't be able to do the eligibility required, my eligibility required to do the program. So, with the 2020, I have any questions?
Go ahead.
So I believe our finance chair will be able to give you the timelines that are coming. I don't know that we could, just because you came in today to say, oh yeah, we'll move ours up, because that's not how it works.
Right.
We could sit here and tell the US government that the reasons why all this is going on is because of A, B, C, D, but our kickback from them already is, I don't give a crap what you guys say. you're gonna turn them in or you're losing your funds. So it's like, I can tell you what we're trying to do, but it doesn't matter, because when you send it to your higher ups, they're just gonna say, don't cut it. Even though a lot of it hasn't been the tribe's fault, nobody told us COVID was coming, nobody told us all these things were gonna happen. Nobody told us that an auditor was gonna quit in the middle of an audit and leave us hanging like that, and we're working behind that. And I'm sure we might not be the only entity across this country that had something like that happen to them. But we could tell you all this stuff, but it's just gonna be, it seems like it's all for nothing. But she'll be able to give you the dates on when our audits are coming, so that way you know when they're coming. I can't tell you that they're gonna say, okay, we'll move them up for you guys. I just don't think it works out.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I want you to know that in the past 5 years, we've had an ongoing conversation. We've been doing our darndest at our level to be able to be as much accommodating as possible. Strict application, we wouldn't have been able to deliver any funds for the last 5 years. We've definitely not done that. We don't want to handicap and kneecap the tribe by holding on to funds. We look for every opportunity. And so I do want to let you know, you're anticipating my ask, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. So you mentioned 2025, but 2024 audits are expected to be done by August. And then you said 2025, but we're still in 2026 and barely midway. So to have that expectation, we just passed the resolution to have that bidded out for 2025. So I don't understand how 2025 would be used against the funding if we're still in 2026 and 2025 is bidded out, when 2024 will be complete by August.
I appreciate that. So the reason why I bring up 2025, because I recognize, I acknowledge 2025 is not due until the end of September. I don't have any intention of suggesting that change, okay? It's more knowing that 2024 is, I didn't know August, I do know now. August, I think the odds are unlikely that 25 will be done in September, right? I don't know of any entity in the nation that could pull it off that fast, right? What I would like to bring up is anticipating that there's a potential kind of loss of the program grades across the country when they pass a new law, right? For us to kind of plan ahead, to be able to do the best we can to make sure that nothing does get interrupted for y'all. The ask is if we could just kind of have the timeline of when you expect. So 2024 being in August, 2025 being whenever you expect it reasonably would be done. Reason being is because for me, that really the eligibility for these things really is me. Okay, there isn't a higher up that's gonna say anything. It really is me, and I try to be as accommodating as possible. I am not one of those that says, "It's too bad, so sad." We know that because I've been aware of a lot of what's been happening, and very sympathetic. I'm really, truthfully, it's been rough, and I understand that. And we don't want to punish the tribe for things that were not in the tribe's control, right?
Right. And so in the last year, we've made every attempt to get these audits caught up. 2024 being done, we expect 2025 by the end of the year. However, we know it's going to probably be into the next year. But the goal is for the end of the year, December for 2025.
So that is the information I need. That actually is very encouraging, and again, superhuman effort to do 5 audits in 2 years. I mean, especially knowing what led to them all being late. I mean, huge congratulations for pulling that off.
And the thing of it is the one that are done, whereas there's no findings in there. So
yes.
It should give the government some comfort knowing that there hasn't been any findings that they're standing out that are outrageous or anything, so.
Right, and that really shows the tribe's resilience to these kind of crazy things that have happened, is that ultimately, once you get a chance to look at it, very little lasting effect with it. So, yeah, so I totally agree. Was there something else?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the the concern that the federal highways have is not, they're talking about the single audits that were, there's nothing that was given to them or communication-wise on the single audits for under highway safety, the highway, federal highways. So I think that's why they're here today, because nobody's actually given you anything that says that single audits were being completed for the federal highway. So that's why they're here today. We can talk round and round, but some of us have been to DC quite a bit on programs that have been affected by our audits. And you know, right now, I just think that we just got to wait and see when our 24 audit is going to be complete. It was supposed to be complete, they told us, in June. But it's the end of June, and now the finance chair is saying it might not be done until September or August. And so now we got our 25. So there's different federal agencies that have told us that, well, our audit need to be complete by the end of June, which is IHS audits. So we do know that there's different entities that have different timelines for their audits. And so I'm just kind of concerned that you hear now today that our audits are being worked on. I don't know, have you got any kind of communication from the tribe to say that federal highways have been audited? Is that what you're asking?
So essentially, on a quarterly basis, we've been essentially expressing, and I guess one thing I should add, one thing that's unique and why single audits are kind of uniquely important to the Federal Highway Administration, more so than maybe other entities, is the default for delivery of this program is for DOI to deliver, right? Congress in 2005 passed a very specific exception to that, which was if a tribe has these audits in place. The law actually specifically has this one eligibility requirement. It's in the law written in the 3 years of no uncorrected findings in the most recent 3 audits. It's a very unique exception in the federal government. But what it allows, and it's I think what Councilman Kelly is really anxious not to lose, it allows a direct relationship between the Federal Highway Administration and tribes. And so because of that, we probably are a little more vigilant than most federal entities because it is the one requirement, right? And if that requirement is not met, the default is to go back to the BIA, right? And we've been sending letters for about 1.5 years. Just saying, here's where we're at, here's what we're looking for, and really haven't received an official response.
Who was the letters being sent to? Can you tell us?
They were directed to the president, but through the president's office. I honestly, I have to send them by email, and I don't know. I don't know if they were getting through, so it may just be that they're being lost in cyberspace, honestly.
Okay, so with that being said, you know, I think that what they're asking is that we give them some type of correspondence back, that what you're saying, that our audits have been complete, this is what's going to be complete, 24, 25, they need to see something like that, right?
I would be willing to say honestly with what Councilman Spaulding said.
So could we get maybe something like that to federal highways, because that's what they're asking for, is just knowing that our audits are being complete. You know, that's all they're asking, because no kind of communication with them, that's why they're here today.
Okay.
So we need to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna give the floor to Steve and then.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're indicating that the oral report that we've received today is sufficient.
So verbal report, you mean, you're okay with this verbal report?
That verbal report is all I need.
Okay, so you heard it then.
Well, I just want to address, I think the concern, what I'm hearing, is he has been notifying us. Why are we not responding? And where is those letters going? Where are those letters going?
To the president's office.
Right, so that's the concern. Because if the communication is not in this circle, it needs to be a part of the circle, because we're not being, we're just as hearing it just now, just like you're hearing about ours. So there's a break in communication again. And if you send it to the president's office or wherever this mail is going, that's the concern. Where is this break at?
Yeah. As you know, we don't have any transportation rep in there either. And a lot of emails does shuttle through my office. So I don't know if it's something I'm overlooking, because we do get.
What do you mean transportation rep?
Well, we can verify that. To acknowledging that really just the verbal response, I do have one more thing I would like to say. With that verbal response, knowing the 23 audit is in, knowing that the 23 audit is in, with that verbal response, knowing the rough time frame, I'm not looking for specific dates or anything like that. For the 24 and 25, where right now at this moment, there's really only one audit that is late.
Which one?
The 24 audit.
Yeah, 24, okay.
We can issue an agreement that has all the funds we're holding from FY25 to FY26. Okay?
Yes. You get correspondence, so on 24th, done, and you get that right.
Okay. We'll also just do a letter, the government always wants us to have things on black and white, so we'll go ahead and just do that, just to ensure it gets there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilman Kelly, then Councilman Cross, and then Councilman Gosper.
No, I'll let Mr. Cross go first. His hand was raised for quite some time, so go ahead, Jim.
Sorry.
There was a trouble with Mr. Whalen.
What's that? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, just identify yourself.
Jeff Whalen. I used to be the transportation director a bunch of years ago. I'm the one that put the federal lands highway agreement, tribal agreement together quite some time ago. I don't remember what year it was, 2004 or 5 or whatever it was. The reason why we did it is we were using the old 638 process to administer all of our funding. And we didn't like that process because of all of the permissions that had to go through the various stops within the federal government to get one of our contractors paid. So we took that whole system out. We even took the BIA out up in Aberdeen. I think they lost 13 engineering positions. We transferred all of that down to Pine Ridge. But when we first did the agreement, they wouldn't let the Oglalas go forward with it because we had bad audits. So at the time, I had talked to a fellow named Leroy Gishi, and there was another one, I can't remember, he's a little bit higher than Leroy. Sparrow. And I told him, you know that our department has good audits. Why don't you give us a waiver? Instead of looking at the tribe's audits, look at the Department of Transportation's audits. And they agreed. So I hear you guys on the radio. It sounds like you want to wait for all of the rest, the whole entire audits from all of the tribal programs to be done before we can do anything with these guys. That's not true. All you got to do is a transportation audit. That would satisfy these guys. That's it. You don't need nothing else. So if there's a delay, when there's other audits in front of the transportation, waiting for like an annual audit for the whole entire tribe, you don't have to do that. Just
transportation.
Right.
Federal highways, yeah. That's what I think they're asking for, but they've been sending communication, but we haven't been answering them. That's why they're here.
Okay, well, anyway, you don't have to wait for the rest of the travel program. Just do transportation audit, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, I do believe that breakdown is because I have my staff looking at emails right now, there is nothing. So it might be an old
That may be.
prior administration email, but we could sure update that too.
That would be excellent.
Okay, we'll get that, we'll get you that.
Don't leave us out his contact information.
Yeah, so I guess that does, if it hasn't been getting to the president, there's no reason why we'd expect a response from their offices. But I will say, I appreciate the communication, appreciate the verbal, that really is, as far as immediate release of the funds we're holding, that's all we need. To let you know, as far as the submission of the 24 and the 25 audits, I have access to the federal audits clearinghouse for all the audits. You don't need to send me a copy. When it gets submitted, I will see it.
Yeah, that'll be all good.
So,
Mr. Chair, closing,
Yeah.
I wanted to address the formula. You know,
you can never address the formula in closing.
yeah, we need to bring it up before you leave here, so, you know, I really think that, you know, throughout the years, you know, we've been shortchanged as a large land-based tribe. So I just wanted to put a bucket here that maybe sometime soon we can, you know, bring a delegation to you guys and look at that, because I know we've always never really gotten anywhere with that. Versus the smaller tribes getting more money than us. So I think that really, I just wanted to bring that up while you're standing there, so thank you.
Can I give you a quick response? One, you're talking to the right person. I actually, one of the parts that's not in my job description, but very early on I realized needed to happen, is one of the things I do throughout the country is I explain what the formula, how the formula works. Like, I actually go around, that's one of the fun parts, how I get to meet everybody, is explaining how the formula works and confusing everybody, because it is a confusing formula. There's no way around it. It is a confusing formula, but one of the things that I do is try to simplify it as much as possible, to try to make sense of it, because there is a universal feeling that everyone wants to change it. But if you don't understand what something is, it's really hard to know what to change.
Do you have
Right.
business cards?
I do have business cards in the back of that. I can provide
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Okay.
would like to have a copy. I
Tell
can
us.
visit you and help you change that.
The stack there.
I can help you simplify.
Yeah.
Yes, but that is one of the things that I love doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really funny. I go to different conferences and I'm presenting year after year. I'm like, just have to remind you guys. You asked me back so we can talk about math.
Yeah.
Right?
We have some mathematicians in this circle here. I'm looking at one right now. Right there.
Yes.
We should have you take
So the answer is I'd love to.
drive the roads here, so we can see our need.
What I
I got
said.
it, real quick. You know, while you're here, it probably wouldn't hurt to take a drive around the rest. Go down to Walgreen, back through and Potato Creek, Kyle. You know,
Question,
down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would really be nice if you would take a tour and you could really see what we need. We don't want it, we need it. It's the road is less wide, it's probably about 16 feet across, you know, the regular road. And it's just a ribbon a black ribbon that goes across our reservation, and we have a lot of fatalities and everything. And especially by the Kyle area there, that really needs to be addressed. And I think we've had 4 or 5 deaths recently within a mile radius there. And so it would be nice if you would take time to take a tour. Mr. President, should have some of your staff throw him in the car and take him across the res. Well, it'd be really nice to do. It would really be nice to do, because then you'd have a first-hand view of it. You wouldn't have to think about it, you'd have seen it, you know.
And I truly appreciate that, the invitation, because it is everywhere I go there is a need, right? And this is one of the unfortunate parts about my position in the federal government, is I can explain the formula, I can run the formula, And I have zero power to change the formula. Right? And the reason being, and that's one of the first things I started when I was explaining it, is Congress in 2012 did something they'd never done before with the Tribal Transportation Program. One, they called it the Tribal Transportation Program. Before it was the Indian Reservation Roads Program. They created a formula that's written into the law. Right? And that's probably the hardest part of the situation is, if something's written into the law, then the only entity capable of changing it is Congress. Right? That's the one of the hardest parts about this formula is that the federal government, the executive side, the part that I'm part of, all we can do is distribute the funds and help you deliver the roads. We can't change the number. Right? Even if there is a perceived greater need in one area than another, the formula is written in the law, and what it says is the law for that year, right? So that's the hardest part. One of the things I do when I present on the formula is explain, here's how it works. If there's something that needs to change, I have no power and no authority, and in fact it breaks the law if I do it, to approach Congress and tell them to change it, right? But the way to change it is through a congressional action.
Councilman Spotterbear?
You just answered my question. I was gonna say, well, then you can advocate by going with Garfield to Manderson and drive his roads, but you can't do it.
Councilman Steele?
Yeah, you pretty much answered my question too, because if you're going back towards Rapid, towards our district, from Wounded Knee through Rocky Ford, probably one of the worst highways on this reservation. And it's funny that someone like yourself, as an expert, can't testify to Congress that there is a bigger need in other areas to change the law. That don't make sense to me at all.
I understand that. It's just a general, it's a lobbying, right? Anytime we try to get Congress to do something, it's lobbying. And executive branch members are legally prohibited from any activity in lobbying. That's just the law.
He's a federal employee.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying it just don't make sense.
Go ahead, Councilman Gosper.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you guys for coming down. And I'm sorry that there's no communication with the tribe, and I'm glad we cleared that up now. But however, this is a serious issue. You guys are sitting here right in front of us telling us that we need to get the audits done. Or there's that one specific audit, the singular audit. So I guess us as council, we gotta work with the comptroller and treasurer and make sure that gets done ASAP. They wouldn't be coming all the way down to DC if this wasn't an issue. So, but I want to thank you guys for coming. If you guys could, just go for a ride around the reservation. I know you guys can't really do much, but at least take a look. See what our needs are. Thank you.
Councilman Putter.
Thanks for coming, but this don't have anything to do with math. How does Oklahoma almost get to cover all of their roads and we get stuck with the reservation? Because it's in the law? And that's because the person from Oklahoma was a senator and presented it.
I can't make a comment on that at all.
But that really sucks for the tribes, what I'm saying.
Again, please don't feel that my time has been wasted coming here. Okay? If anything, got an answer, but also I was able to help your controller to try to work through some of the Sam Dot Gov issues that are kind of plaguing the tribe in general. So that was worth it by itself.
Did you get through?
I hope so.
Okay.
There's still some open-ended questions that she's got to address, but we found some questions to ask. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Is it card?
Yeah, I'll go.
So we just emailed him, so he has documentation that we did respond. Gave him what he wanted. And we gave him cards. Business cards.
We thought the president's office beat him up for that.
Johnson, Browns, those are the people that we were here today.
That's what I put on here.
Okay, if you want a card, it's gonna be sitting up here.
We need to put some trust in our cards.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna move on. There's two of them. Okay, tribal council, before we move on, we do have another issue that needs to be addressed. So at this time, I'm going to have OLT come to do their presentation. And we'll turn it over to the board. Just introduce yourself and you may begin.
Good afternoon, everyone, Mr. President, council members. My name is Petra Wilson. I'm on the board of directors for OLT and the current chair. We have one urgent matter that we've been trying to deal with for it's been a few weeks, and in the interim of that, we're getting into, I would say, some issues that are going to have to be addressed immediately. One is we needed an emergency loan. An emergency loan is because of the UEI issue. I know that some of the entities have been able to transfer their grants over to the new active UEI. However, NTI won't allow us to do that. And so there's one option. It's called a novation. And with that, it would take a long time. In the interim of that, NTI won't stop putting us in a non-compliance, or the tribe in a non-compliance, because the tribe is a grantee. So currently, the tribe is showing as non-compliant to NTI. We have a request from them to upload the docs again about 5 days ago. It still hasn't been done. That's through the comptroller, Tony. So we put forth a resolution that we're asking for. Well, we worked with Cora Whitehorse on a letter. We took it to the bank, and they asked for a resolution from the tribal council, and you should have a copy of it. We originally were directed from the treasurer to look for a 90-day ability. However, the bank has decided that they feel they know better and they can reduce it to $3 million and something cents. So we really needed the $5 million or more. But we're gonna take what we can to keep this project rolling. So if, what we're asking for is that the tribal council helps to approve our reimbursable grant. So it's not coming out of any of the tribe's pocket, it's actually coming from the NTIA grant. It's just without the ability to pull those funds down, we're kind of stuck. And we have past due items right now, as well as we're coming up on, I think it's $500,000 construction invoice. And what was the other one? Oh, the Nokia, the equipment, which is about $3 million. So we're kind of in a, I guess you would say, a conundrum as to how we're going to keep moving forward with this without support, and being able to release these funds at some point. And it's really not in our hands. I mean, the UEI is under the tribe. We're kind of stuck until then. And we've got 55 million that's being affected by that UEI. And we did ask our contractors to take a look at it, and I know that Tony herself said about half the tribe is underneath that inactive UEI. When I looked at it, I think it's about 280 million are underneath that UEI, and about 45 million outside of OLT is being affected right now. So it would be really great to see that be maybe some type of action from the tribal council to try to force that forward. I don't know what action that would be, but sometimes we need our tribal council to become our lawyers and go forth. So with that, is there any questions on the resolution? Do you want me to read it?
Yes,
I read it?
for the record, yes.
Okay, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe to authorize an emergency line of credit from First National Bank of Board in Nebraska to support the Oglala Lakota Telecommunications LLC NTIA broadband infrastructure project. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is a sovereign tribal nation that has entered into treaties as the supreme law of the land with the United States government pursuant to the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, and is a signatory to the Treaty of the Fort Laramie of 1851, 1 Stat 749, September 17, 1851, and the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1868, 15 Statute 635. April 29, 1868, and continues the nation-to-nation relationship with the federal government. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe organized under Section 16 of the Indian Organization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. 5123, by adopting a federally approved constitution and bylaws, and under Article 3 of the Tribal Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the tribe. And whereas Article 4, Sections 1F, 1K, 1L, and 1W empower the Tribal Council to manage the economic affairs of the tribe, protect and preserve the property of the tribe, adopt laws governing the conduct of persons on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and general welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted its constitution, tribal constitution, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, and Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the tribe under Article 3, Section 1 of the Tribal Constitution. And whereas Article 4, Section 1 of the Tribal Constitution empowers the Tribal Council to negotiate with federal, state, and local governments, regulate the use and disposition of property on the reservation, manage the economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, charter subordinate organizations for economic purposes, and promote the general welfare of the members of Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas Article 13, Section 4 of the Tribal Constitution designates the tribal treasurer as the custodian of all monies coming under the jurisdiction or control of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, and authorizes the treasurer to pay out money and direct disbursements in accordance with the laws established by the Tribal Council. And whereas Oglala Telecommunications, OLT, is 100% tribally owned and managed limited liability company organized under the tribal constitution and laws of the Oglala Sioux tribe, whose primary mission is to advance wireless and fiber broadband communications and services to tribal members and governmental entities residing on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas among the laws established by the Tribal Council in Article 8 of the Articles of Organization of OLT, which provides that the company is formed pursuant to the Act and in accordance with OST's Council Resolution number 20-105, as amended by Resolution number 21-29 and Resolution number 22-83. The purpose for which this company is organized is to conduct lawful business, including implementing grant monies and other funding awarded or provided to the Oglala Telecommunications LLC or the Oglala Sioux tribe by the U.S. government, in compliance with all applicable laws and requirements for the deployment and adoption of broadband on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas in handling the day-to-day business affairs of OLT, the CEO manager has authority under Section 4.2A of OLT's operating agreement to enter into binding contracts with any other person or entity in the form as approved by the OLT Board of Directors, make purchases for the company, pay all debts and obligations of the company, engage contractors, consultants, and other experts to provide services to the company, establish and maintain the financial records for the company, and take such other actions as may be reasonably necessary, convenient, or incidental to carry out the purposes of the company. And whereas the Oglala Sioux tribe is the duly authorized grantee of $19,620,766 National Telecommunications Information Administration, NTIA, cost reimbursement grant, awarded for the purpose of allowing OLT to expand and develop broadband telecommunications infrastructure and services on the reservation. And the NTIA grant award is in an amount sufficient to satisfy the line of credit obligation described herein. And whereas Tribal Council Resolution number 80-41 designated the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska as a central depository for all Oglala Sioux tribal programs, contracts, grants, and chartered, and directed and authorized the tribal treasurer to establish and deposit all tribal chartered, contracted, and granted funds at the bank. And whereas, based on Resolution 80-41, millions of dollars in tribal funds are deposited in the accounts established by the tribal treasurer at the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska, thereby making the bank the only commercial bank in which the tribe does business and making it necessary for the tribe to use the bank when it or its 100% tribally owned business entities are in need of loans for operations and payment of commercial contractual obligations that can be secured and collateralized by tribal or federal cost reimbursement funds. And whereas on June 20th, 2026, Tribal Treasurer Cora Whitehorse, acting pursuant to her authority under Article 13, Section 4 of the Tribal Constitution, submitted an emergency loan request letter to First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska, requesting a loan in the amount of $5,811,652 on behalf of OLT, designating the NTIA cost reimbursement grant funds as collateral and committing to direct all NTIA reimbursement draws to repay the loan in full. Whereas OLT requires access to an emergency short-time bridge line of credit with proceeds to be deposited directly into the OLT business account of the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska to fund critical telecommunications infrastructures costs on the reservation pending the drawdown and disbursement of NTIA reimbursement grant funds as confirmation from NTIA regarding the availability of funds and the designation of the grant funds as repayment sources currently being obtained. And whereas the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska has indicated that it will consider an emergency line of credit in an amount not to exceed $3,250,000, subject to a signed guarantee by the Oglala Sioux Tribe Council. The Tribal Council resolution authorizing the loan to OLT, the loan being structured as a single pay line of credit with all principal and interest due in 90 days, submission of invoices to the bank before advances are made, and satisfactory confirmation of the grant status and availability of funds. And whereas the NTIA grant funds are monies under the jurisdiction and control of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, consistent with the custodial authority vested in the office of the treasurer under Article 13, Section 4 of the OST Constitution, and the tribe is committed to the lawful application of those funds in accordance with federal grant requirements and tribal law. And whereas the tribal council finds that authorizing OLT to access emergency short-term line of credit with proceeds deposited directly into the OLT business accounts of the First National Bank of Gordon, and with the Oglala Sioux tribe as the NTIA grantee, solely responsible for repayment of all principal and accrued interest from the NTIA grant funds, is in the best interest of the Oglala Sioux tribe and its members, as it will accelerate the delivery of broadband telecommunication services and infrastructure on the reservation. Therefore, be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby authorizes and directs the tribal treasurer, acting under Article 13, Section 4 of the OST Constitution, to obtain an emergency short-term line of credit from the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska, an amount not to exceed $3,250,000 for the limited purpose of advancing critical broadband telecommunication infrastructure costs on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Loan proceeds shall be deposited directly into the OLT account for use by Oglala Lakota Telecommunications LLC in furtherance of the NTIA grant project. Be it resolved that the Tribal Council hereby ratifies and reaffirms the June 20th, 26 emergency loan request letter submitted by Tribal Treasurer Cora Whitehorse to the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska, including the Treasurer's designation of NTIA grant funds as collateral and the commitment to direct all NTIA disbursement draws to repay the loan, and that the Tribal Treasurer's actions in submitting said letter are hereby confirmed as duly authorized under Article 13, Section 4 of the Tribal Constitution, Article 8 of the Articles of Organization of OLT, and Section 4.2A of OLT's operating agreement, and this resolution. Be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux tribe, as the duly authorized NTIA grantee, shall be solely responsible for repayment of the loan, including the principal and all accrued interest. Be it further resolved that the tribal treasurer is authorized to execute all loan agreements, guaranteed documents, co-sign agreements, and any other documents required by the bank on behalf of the Oglala Sioux tribe, consistent with applicable federal law and the terms of the NTIA grant award. Be it further resolved that the loan shall be structured as a single pay line of credit, with all principal and all accrued interest due and payable by the Oglala Sioux tribe within 90 days of the date of origination, and that advances under the line of credit shall be made only upon submission of invoices to the bank in accordance with the bank's requirements, provided, however, that no advances shall be made for any costs that are not reimbursable under the NTIA $19,620,766 NTIA grant, cost of reimbursement grant. Be it further resolved that the $19,620,766 cost reimbursement grant funds awarded to the Oglala Sioux tribe, or so much thereof as is necessary, are hereby designated as the collateral and sole repayment source for the $3,250,000 loan. The NTIA grant award is an amount sufficient to satisfy the loan obligation in full. Upon approval and receipt of the NTIA reimbursement draws, the Oglala Sioux tribe, through the Office of the Treasurer acting under Article 13, Section 4 of the OST Constitution, shall direct disbursement of those funds to the First National Bank for the sole purpose of satisfying and retiring the outstanding loan principal and all accrued interest in full, in accordance with duly authorized tribal council orders and applicable federal grant disbursement requirements. Be it further resolved that the OLTCO manager is authorized to execute all documents necessary to assist the tribal treasurer in obtaining this emergency short-term line of credit from the First National Bank of Gordon, Nebraska, and to expend loan proceeds in accordance with this resolution and the NTIA grant requirements. Be it further resolved that the Office of the Treasurer shall maintain full and accurate accounts of all receipts and disbursements associated with this loan of the NTIA grant funds, and shall provide written reports of the same to the Tribal Council at each regular special meeting until the loan is satisfied in full, consistent with the duties imposed by Article 13, Section 4 of the OST Constitution.
Sure.
Be it further resolved that the tribal president and secretary are hereby authorized and directed to sign this resolution on behalf of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Be it further resolved that the tribal president shall assist the tribal treasurer and OLT CEO managers in securing the loan for OLT in accordance with this resolution.
Motion.
Question, go ahead, Councilwoman Spotted.
I had a question regarding this resolution. Are you saying that the 19,620,000 is all obligated and there are no more funds?
Is this on? Is that on? Okay, okay. This loan is to be reimbursed by the grant. This is the money that we would have had the opportunity to draw down if it wasn't for the UEI issue. The UEI is holding those grants. And the novation that they offered is, they've never done it before, so they don't know how long it will take. And we can't risk doing a breach of contract, which we're headed towards right now.
I understand all of that. I just want to verify that this is reimbursed. So
It's
not
reimbursable.
a loan because there's no money. Okay, yes, I just needed that clarification. Thank you.
Councilman Jales.
We gave them $6 million.
Petra, you know, after reading along with you and looking at the highlighted areas that I've got, what is our payback on what you're asking? The 250,000. What is our repayment on that? Have you guys defined an interest rate as of yet?
They haven't given us an interest rate as of yet. They haven't really, they just reduced the amount that we were originally asking for, and then they said that they would prefer us to a line of credit versus a loan. That way we don't have high interest. We only get interest on what we end up using. So invoices, the invoices that we receive will go directly to the bank, and they'll pay. And then we'll be looking at the reimbursement once this UEI issue is completed.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that UEI, but we've been hounding on it for quite some time. And it's still not resolved. Hopefully Matt Bird helped her out a little bit and got us registered. It sounds not good. Today's what? I think it'd be in your best interest to find out what your interest rate is going to be before committing. You know, we substantially put a lot of money, this tribe, as a matter of fact, puts a lot of money through Gordon Bank. And I want to say that how we own that bank.
I purposely stuck that in that resolution of the bank.
Yeah.
Because they said they considered us, but we put millions of dollars of all our federal program money in there, general fund money. So it's important that they work with us on these issues. But I just want to say that this program has been operating under the ARPA money. And we have these grants like NTAI, and that's the Department of Commerce, but they're reimbursable. And so the problem is this UEI system. There was a SAM system, was it? But now it's a UEI, it's all automated, and they can't draw down any funds. So the comptroller and Cora have been working on that. And so as a result, we have our engineer, and he needs to be paid. So we had an emergency here to pay him, or he was going to quit providing services. That's Jeff Little. So we resolved that. We had to take some of this ARPA money and pay him, but it's reimbursable. This is a reimbursable grant. So we could get reimbursed when we just put $19 million loans, but we can't draw down on them until they're transferred. So we have all these reimbursable items, like the NTA, Jeff Little's $75,000 that we just advanced, that can be reimbursed. But if we don't comply with this, I just want you to know this, we could lose that $19 million. So that's what you need to focus on. We're in an emergency right now. We could lose $19 million. And so, and also, besides losing that, we're in breach of contract with all these vendors. How many dollars are breach of contract?
Right now, we're two vendors are past due, and we're trying to hold them back. But let's see.
So this is an emergency, for an emergency, because the program has to move ahead. Got the money sitting there, but we can't get the drawdowns. You know, they're all reimbursable. 75,000, for example, can be reimbursed out of this money. So we met with Cora, and that's important. We met with Cora, and she thought that the OLT should be the one taking out the loan. And that since the money is being held by the tribe, she signed a letter, and we took it to the bank and asked for a loan, and she verified that this money will be there to pay back the loan. So when we went there, we met with this Brooke Gates, and she said, she looked at all the documentation, she thought it was complete, so she took it to her board the next morning, and they examined it, and they said that they would consider, instead of 5 million, 3 million. Why 5 million? Because Cora said put it out for 3 months. She suggested it, so we put the loan out 3 months, it came to 5 million plus. Well, Brooke says that the board said they would consider 3 million. And then we asked her, well, you know, what, do we have to draw it all down at once? Why can't we just draw it down as we need it? So she suggested a line of credit. So we just draw it down as it's needed. So that should affect the interest rates too, if we don't draw it all down at once.
Okay,
So basically, we're really in a bind right now because the program has to go on, and we can't, this UEI stuff is just holding everything up. And I have this, this right off the internet. So this date, the inactive SAM registration, approximately $45.7 million in current active federal funds administered under the Oglala Sioux Tribe's UEI are subject to potential disruption, including reimbursements, delays, that's us, grant modifications, and other federal award administrative actions requiring an active SAM registration. So we get this UEI stuff really affecting not only this program, but a lot of other tribal programs. Millions of dollars are being held up. So I think the tribe needs to look, do something about that, because we're kind of passive. We're having our tribal, our federal congressional delegation looking into it. Maybe we need to take legal action against the government and force them to transfer these funds. So basically, I just wanted to point out that this is an emergency. We stand to lose a $9 million grant. Let's understand it. And not only that, then if we lose the grant, we're obligated to pay all this money to breach a contract.
Yeah, Petra, if I can finish. You know, I'm looking at page 4. They start, whereas First National Bank of Gordon. But on the third bullet there, right after OLT, you see where I'm at?
Let's see here. Oh,
It
the
said-
loan?
Yeah, the loan being structured as a single pay line of credit with all principal and interest due in 90 days. What that's telling me, if we don't have the UEI, who's going to eat that cost?
For,
It says your interest is due in 90 days.
Right.
Yeah, you got a payment due as soon as you accept that dollar.
so here's where it's at. The tribe is the holder of the grant, not loyalty. The tribe is. The tribe is currently in a non-compliant status. And even if we're working on this UEI, they are not going to stop doing their part of what they have to do when they review it. So what we were told by Stephanie Henning is if we don't get this UEI fixed, even if the tribe is, even if loyalty is doing everything they can, unless we can keep the project running, we'll start losing the grant. And they can recommend that the grant be taken. And at that point, then we are looking at our USDA grant, which is for fiber, which is another 35 million, sorry. and I think that's where it's just, this is about the tribe. The tribe is the one that's non-compliant. The tribe is the one that is experiencing the difficulty with the UEI. That's what they're gonna look at. But even though it's not in the tribe's hands, they're still gonna hold the tribe accountable. So if the, when we originally talked about this at the working meeting, I said I felt that the tribe needs to take some responsibility for it. Because we don't have the ability to do that in our hands. I wish we did, and one day we will. But as of today, this all falls on the tribe and the tribal council's shoulders. I'm sorry to say that that's the way it's going to be.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I think at one of our meetings, I think finance, we did not direct, but asked our chair of the finance to get with Jennifer Hughes on trying to meet with our delegation. I kind of want to know where that's at, an update maybe, because we kind of had to reach out now to our delegation. Because if they can help us, and I think Cora did agree with that too, that we should maybe now for time to go to our delegation and try to see who they can reach out to help us with the EI number. There's an active one and there's a non-active one. And right now, they're all under the non-active one. And so they're trying to get their money drawn down. It's 19 million that we're talking about. But that's kind of where they're stuck. And so we asked that the delegation be, we need to reach out to them. I don't know if Jennifer Hughes is still on the line, but I want to know where that is, you know? Did we get a hold of the delegation to see what's going on with that? Did they try to maybe help us in that area with the UEI number? Remember, we asked Julia, we asked her to set that up, and you said you was going to DC that week, or meet with GAO?
The GAO.
GAO.
Yeah. I don't know where Cora's at, but Norman just mentioned something that I remember, or I recall in that meeting regarding the USDA, so I'll just let Norman explain that.
No, I thought Cora said that she could go a different route for getting that number by going through the USDA.
NTI is not USDA.
No, but she said there was an avenue she could follow to get that
For
number.
USDA. USDA is a little bit different, NTIA will not do it. We've already put that request in. The only option we have is what they call renovation, and they've never done it. They don't know how, we'd be their guinea pig. And they think 6 weeks, but that's the estimate. And we're kind of scared to do it because we just really don't know if they know what they're doing. There's just few options. We wait for the delegates, or we take them to court and make a move. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to do. We're now looking at March, April, May, June. We're going into July, so 5 months of this on the UEI.
George, did you have your hand raised there?
I'll just second.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman Gosper.
Hey, Chair, is Tony out here meeting yet? Because we need to get this figured out. Well, I mean, whatever we gotta do to help these guys, we need to do it, because me personally, I've been for this grant, this broadband, since I came in office. I'm all about the tribe having its own entity and making its own money and selling a service to our people that's at a lower cost. It's kind of disturbing. I know we've been working on this for a while, but however we can get this helpful, we need to do it, you guys. I don't want Golden West to be our daddy anymore.
And just on that, we were told that we can have the fiber within 60 days.
Hello, Dustin Twist. I'm the Vice Chairman of the OLT Board. I just had a couple of follow-up questions, one in particular to Mr. Kelly's question. So kind of our backup plan was the novation process. If we, you know, like Petra had mentioned that OLT and our engineers, we're very reluctant to do the novation procedure. But we're coming to a point here, maybe, you know, later this week or next week, where we're basically going to be forced to do that. And from what we understand, that's a 4 to 6 week process. And so that's kind of why to avoid breach. So that's kind of why we asked for the 90-day, or that is the reason we asked for the 90-day loan structure. So if we don't have the UEI resolved right away, that we could have the novation complete in 4 to 6 weeks. So that would allow the changeover to the active number before the loan becomes due.
Go ahead, Councilman Standish.
I guess we all just we don't realize that this is our company. We're arguing with our own people on our own company. I mean, we need to assist our people who are running our company. It's that simple.
Thank you. Go ahead, I'm gonna let the attorney speak.
So, Mr. Kelly's question, I think, was, it's a single pay line of credit with all principal and interest due in 90 days. What if we don't have the UEI issue figured out by then? The answer is the Oglala Sioux tribe will be solely responsible for repaying 100% of all of the principal and interest, regardless of whether that issue is resolved. So no one else is going to be responsible, no one else is going to take care of it. It will be the Oglala Sioux tribe. So that gives you 90 days to figure out that issue, and if you can't, then you have to come up with $3.25 million plus interest. The other thing is, in the first be it resolved clause, the last sentence I talked with Mario Gonzalez says loan proceeds shall be deposited, ... This is no longer strictly a loan, it's a line of credit, and I think he's comfortable with striking that sentence.
Better motion, Chair.
Yeah, so, I think we're done enough questions here, so we'll run the motion there. We have a second. By Councilman Dreamer.
Motion to approve the resolution of the president.
With that amendment.
And there were a couple of small typographical errors, which the secretary has corrected, so just so you know that.
Motion to approve with the amendments and with the correction of the graphical errors. The I wasn't dotted.
Explanation. Secretary, roll call.
Don Osbeck,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Abstain.
Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still, Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
No.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
No.
David Poyer,
No.
11 yes, 3 no, 1 abstain, 1 not voting. Motion carried. Yes, go ahead.
I think, as a tribal council, we need to really think about down the road of what grants we really want to go after and what grants have kind of been those ones that are pushing the tribe to the point of no return. It's like all morning long, you sat here and you watched program after program. We need 146,000 because of this, we need this. And if we don't have it by this time, that starts to wear on somebody. And our people are listening to that and they're getting tired of that. They're getting tired of every single penny that comes into the tribe being pitched and the tribe being forced into something that it really shouldn't get itself into. So I think we, as a tribe, we really need to watch what grants we go after and which ones we have problems in history with these reimbursements and these problems we've had with them in the past. And then we need to get on top of this stuff with our, making sure we have our DUNS numbers, our SAM numbers, our youth, or whatever number that is. It's frustrating because I sit here, one program after another is going to be a problem and people are listening to it and it's just frustrating. At some point we're going to have to get on top of this because the tribes should be broke if we're not already broke.
Just a couple other things I'd like everybody to be aware of. One is with the UEI. NTIA has been reaching out to the tribe for a response to upload some documents for about 5 days now, and there's been no response. So that's one thing I wanted you to be aware of. Another one was at our working session in Rapid City recently. It was suggested that OLT approach Courtney's office about the SSBCI loan for operations. We're not eligible for that program as a tribally owned LLC. And then that brings me also to this loan. Some of the money that we've used was out of our operating fund to keep our engineers going. There would be a small portion of that we could reimburse to operations that would come out of that loan. So that would extend us a little bit, but still, we should be aware that we're getting close to running out of operations money.
I just want to add that this UEI is not just affecting OLT, it's affecting some of these other tribal programs. We're holding up a lot of money here. And OLT is cost reimbursement, so all these costs can be reimbursed out of that grant. The problem is that the comptroller and the treasurer's been working on trying to draw down this money under this UEI system instead of the SAM system, so it's holding up these expenditures that can be reimbursed. So we have to go after a loan, line of credit. And so we have 90 days for to straighten this out, this UEI issue. And it's not just this program. You've got to understand that it's holding up a lot of other money on this, for the tribe, this UEI system. And I don't know what that figure is. Do you have how much money is being held up?
Besides the OLT, when I was looking at it, it's about 45 million. I think AGHS has like 3 items that are submitted like beginning of June, that they're not going to be able to pull down because it's inactive. I think they brought it forth already. Overall, about $280 million of the tribes is held within that inactive UEI, which Tony's reiterated several times that it's half the tribe's money. It's tied up in that.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
I will visit with Courtney about the eligibility of a tribally owned business through the SSBCI program to get that straightened out.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for presentation.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Yes, and also with these grants, when they drag on to a new administration, that's usually the problem too. When a new administration comes on board, that's why you see some of these changes. holdups, delays.
Well, question. I think,
Yeah.
President, maybe you need to look into maybe setting up something with the attorney, Ms. Hughes, and maybe get in touch with our delegation so that we can find out what's holding up the UEI number. You know, I think it's not only affecting OLT, but it's also affecting water and sewer, and it's also affecting solid waste. So there's other programs that are being affected by this. So it's not just something that we should just brush under the rug and act like, you know, nothing is going on. We'll just let it lay there dormant so that we'll see if it ever comes alive or something will happen with it. You know, they've been addressing it since April. Nothing has been done. They said they're trying. They've been trying since April and they haven't gotten anywhere with it. So I suggested that maybe we should reach out to our delegation so they can get in touch with whoever it may be to try to get the UEI number open. Now, any recommendations from our attorney here, Mr. Gunn, you know, to that, if we can get something done, or is Ms. Hughes on the line? Is she still on the line? But we did ask for that. So my recommendation would be that, President, that if you could reach out to Jennifer and see about getting something set up. You know, maybe we can do that and meet through Zoom or something in your office, but we should get in touch with our delegation on it. Because it is a very serious issue. It's critical to our programs, and I think we need to do something now.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation to you.
So,
Everything is kind of calming down now. We only got so many months left in this administration before we go into the 9-member representatives. So let's get something done now for these programs.
That'll be no problem. We'll get that on the schedule. Go ahead, Councilwoman Spotted.
President, earlier today you did ask that we keep it short regarding what's the list of items that we have on our agenda. So I'm asking that we stay on track with that idea, because I had already messaged Jen Hughes and let her know I need to fly there or we need to get a group together. We can do that. But I'm just going to ask that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, we're gonna move on. We got 4 o'clock here.
Watch him so he don't choke.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our next agenda item, HHS. At this time, I will turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, President. The first item from HHS is resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, an unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving an all-inclusive service contract for agreement for temporary health care professional coverage between Tribal Health LLC and the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is a sovereign tribal nation that has entered into treaties as the supreme law of the land with the United States government pursuant to the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, and is a signatory to the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1851, 1 Stat 749, September 17, 1851, and the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1868, 15 Stat 635, April 29, 1868, and continues the nation-to-nation relationship with the federal government. And whereas, I'm going to skip down to the 4th whereas. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Women's Health Care is in need of temporary professional staffing services as the Native Women's Health Care Clinic in Rapid City. And whereas the Native Women's Health Care has negotiated an all-inclusive service agreement for temporary health care professional staffing services with Tribal Health LLC to identify temporary health care professionals acceptable to Native Women Health Care to provide services requested by NWHC. And whereas the Tribal Health LLC shall assume sole responsibility for wages or other compensation withholding of applicable income taxes, pay social security, tax contributions, and all other statutory employer responsibilities. And whereas Native Women's Health Care will bill for, collect, and retain all professional fees for services rendered by Travel Health LLC, temporary health care providers. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Women's Health Care will compensate Travel Health LLC $1,200,000 for the one-year term of the contract. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Health and Human Services Committee met on May 21st, 2026 and approved the all-inclusive service agreement approved by the Grants Agreement Committee and recommend approval by the Tribal Council. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby approve the all-inclusive service agreement with the Tribal Health LLC to provide temporary healthcare professional staffing for a term of 1 year commencing on the date of the approval for a total cost of $1,200,000. Therefore, be it further resolved that the President is authorized to execute the agreement with the Health LLC. Certification motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Spotted, second by Councilman Little. Roll call.
Donald Rosberg,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yep.
Garfield Still,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior votes yes, David Queer,
Yeah.
Unanimous, 16, motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the second amendment to the all-inclusive service agreement for temporary health care professional coverage between Tribal Health LLC and the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Skipping down to the fourth whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Women's Health Care is in need of temporary professional staffing services at the Native Women's Healthcare Clinic in Rapid City. And whereas the Native Women's Healthcare has negotiated an all-inclusive service agreement for the temporary healthcare professional staffing services with the Tribal Health LLC to identify temporary healthcare professionals acceptable to Native Women's Healthcare to provide services requested by NWHC. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Women's Healthcare will compensate the Tribe Health LLC $1,200,000 for the one-year term of the contract. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Health and Human Services Committee met on May 21st, 2026 and approved the all-inclusive service agreement amendment to the all-inclusive agreement and recommend approval for the second amendment to the agreement by the Tribal Council. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby approves the second amendment to the all-inclusive service agreement with Tribal Health LLC to provide temporary healthcare professional staffing for a term of 1 year commencing on the date of approval for a total cost of $1,200,000. Therefore, be it further resolved that the President is authorized to execute the second amendment to the agreement with the Tribal Health LLC. Certification motion.
Motion by Councilman Slotner, second by Councilman Little. Roll call.
Donald Rosberg,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly, Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yes.
Fifteen yes, one not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the disenrollment of Paula Lorraine Rosander from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership. Skipping down to the fourth whereas Paula Lorraine Rosander requests disenrollment from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership pursuant to the OST ordinance number 18-03, enrollment code Article 6, section 16.6.102, relinquishment, and whereas by motion and vote on May 19th, 2026, the OST Health and Human Services Committee recommended that the Tribal Council approve the request for relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribal membership by disenrollment for Paula Lorraine Rosander. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the request for relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership, enrollment and all rights as a tribal member therein for Paula Lorraine Rosander, effective immediately. Certification.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Stockbridge, second by Councilman Randall. Roll call.
Donald Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
No.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Maya Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
No.
Norman Standing Soldier,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
No.
David Kelly,
No.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer.
No.
Nine yes, six no, one not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the disenrollment of Naisha Samika Lorraine Rosander from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership. Skipping down to the fourth whereas Paula Lorraine Rosander, mother of minor child Naisha Samika Lorraine Rosander, requests disenrollment from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership pursuant to the OST ordinance number 18-03, enrollment code Article 6, section 16.6.102, relinquishment. And whereas by motion and vote on May 19, 2026, the OST Health and Human Services Committee recommended that the Tribal Council approve the request for the relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribal membership by disenrollment for Naisha Samika Lorraine Rosander. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the request for relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribal membership, enrollment and all rights as a tribal member therein for Naisha Samika Lorraine Rosander, effective immediately. Certification.
Is that a motion?
No.
Got a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Dillon,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Little Hawk West. Roll call?
Donald Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr., Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Maya Weston, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
No.
Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
No.
Norman Standing Soldier,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
No.
David Kelly,
No.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer.
No.
The last one passed.
8 yes, 7 no, 1 not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the disenrollment of Chavez Wade Rosander from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership. Skipping down to the fourth whereas Paula Lorraine Rosander, mother of minor child Chavez Wade Rosander, requests disenrollment from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership pursuant to the OST ordinance number 18-03 Enrollment Code Article 6, Section 16.6.102 relinquishment. And whereas by motion and vote on May 19, 2026, the OST Health and Human Services Committee recommended that the Tribal Council approve the request for the relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribal membership by disenrollment for Chavez Wade Rosander. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the request for relinquishment of Oglala Sioux Tribal membership enrollment and all rights as a tribal member therein for Chavez Wade Rosander, effective immediately certification.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Dillon. Roll call.
Donner Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr., Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Maya Weston, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
No.
Garfield Steele,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
No.
Norman Standing Soldier,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
No.
David Kelly,
No.
Hugh Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Nope.
Eight yes, 7 no, 1 not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. Our next item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the disenrollment of Shannon Louise Hanson from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership. Skipping down to the fourth whereas Shannon Louise Hanson requests disenrollment from the Oglala Sioux Tribe membership pursuant to OST ordinance number 18-03 Enrollment Code Article 6, Section 16.6.102 relinquishment. And whereas by motion and vote on May 19, 2026, the OST Health and Human Services Committee recommended that the Tribal Council approve the disenrollment for Shannon Louise Hanson. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the request for relinquishment of the Oglala Sioux Tribal membership enrollment and all rights as a tribal member therein for Shannon Louise Hanson, effective immediately certification.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston. Second by Councilman Dillon. Roll call.
Donner Gosper,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
No.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Maya Weston, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
No.
Garfield Steele,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
No.
Norman Standing Soldier,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
No.
David Kelly,
No.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
No.
Question, go ahead.
I was just observing her certificate of Indian blood, and it states on there that she is 4/4 blood quantum. That being said, how could she be another tribe?
Is that on our records?
Our records. How could she have other? Oh, she's got full force.
Yeah, there's no possible way.
Come on, you guys.
How about the other, this is just on the other guy, right?
This is the
Yeah,
only
the
one.
last one I just read. Okay.
Well, I guess they're gonna have their own struggle with enrolling.
There we go.
Unless we're wrong again.
I'll keep going. But she has more force. Right, so this next item is the HIP, and I believe due to the district, oh, you did read the vote?
Yeah, what was the vote on this last one?
Yeah, we're waiting for the vote. He had a question here. Okay, so it's 8 yes, 7 no, 1 not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. This last item, or this next item, not the last. This next item is the HIP topic. We did have discussion regarding this issue this morning with a constituent from our district. I don't know if we want a motion to table this.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion to table by Councilman Still, second by Councilman Stoddard. Roll call.
Table tower. Oh, you're gonna meet that.
Remember, he was supposed to bring back next Tuesday, so you guys. I know.
Conrad Bushberg,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Littlefender,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Okay.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Not voting.
David Poyer.
Yeah.
15 yes, 1 not voting, motion carried.
Thank you, President. That is all we have for HHS regular agenda.
Thank you. Okay, we'll jump right into land, and I'll turn it over to the chair.
Let Mr. Penn read the resolution.
Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe to express support for the Bison Homelands Initiative, skipping down. Whereas Tatanka or Bison are sacred relatives to the Lakota Oyate, providing physical sustenance, spiritual nourishment, clothing, shelter, tools, and cultural identity to the Lakota Oyate since time immemorial. And whereas the relationship between the Lakota Oyate and Tatanka is rooted in the traditional way of life and reflects Lakota values of respect, kinship, reciprocity, and stewardship of all living beings. And whereas Tatanka continue to hold a significant cultural, ceremonial, educational, ecological, and economic importance for the citizens of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas the near extermination of Tatanka during the 19th century was carried out in part through federal policies intended to undermine the sovereignty, self-sufficiency, cultural lifeways, and survival of the Lakota Oyate. And whereas despite the federal government's attempts to eradicate Tatanka as a means to dismantle the traditional lifeways and resistance of the Lakota Oyate, the spiritual connection between the Lakota people and Tatanka has endured through generations. And whereas the restoration and protection of Tatanka herds contributes to food sovereignty, land stewardship, environmental restoration, cultural revitalization, youth education, and community wellness within the boundaries of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe recognizes the importance of preserving and strengthening traditional Lakota knowledge, language, and practices connected to Tatanka for future generations, and whereas the Tribal Council finds it to be in the best interest of the tribe to support initiatives, partnerships, policies, and programs that protect, restore, and honor Tatanka within the tribe's homelands and treaty territories. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux tribe hereby expresses its support for the establishment, protection, and long-term stewardship of a Tatanka bison corridor spanning the Southern Territory recognized under the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1868 for the purpose of restoring and reconnecting native bison populations to their traditional migratory pathways and ecological habitats. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux tribe hereby expresses its support for the Bison Homelands Initiative, a tribally led effort dedicated to restoring Tatanka to indigenous homelands through the advancement of tribal sovereignty, ecological restoration, cultural revitalization, food sovereignty, and intertribal collaboration across the Great Plains. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council recognizes the Bison Homelands Initiative as a vital partner in advancing the vision and implementation of the Tatanka Corridor by supporting the reconnection of fragmented prairie ecosystems, restoring native bison migration pathways, and strengthening a sacred relationship between the Lakota, Oyate, and Tatanka for present and future generations. And be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux tribe expresses its support for collaborative efforts through the Bison Homelands Initiative to promote tribal stewardship of land and wildlife, expand opportunities for cultural education and youth engagement, and develop sustainable economic and conservation strategies that honor Lakota values, treaty rights, and the long-term health of the prairie ecosystem. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council recognizes the Tatanka Corridor as an expression of Lakota sovereignty, cultural revitalization, environmental stewardship, and intergenerational responsibility to preserve the sacred relationship between the Lakota, Oyate, and Tatanka. And be it further resolved that the establishment of such a corridor shall support tribal efforts related to food sovereignty, prairie restoration, biodiversity, conservation, climate resilience, cultural education, youth engagement, and the revitalization of traditional Lakota lifeways. And be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux tribe encourages cooperation and consultation among tribal nations, federal agencies, state governments, conservation organizations, private landowners, and other partners committed to the restoration and protection of Tatanka across the Great Plains region. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council expresses its support for the development of intertribal agreements, land management strategies, conservation easements, wildlife crossings, grazing agreements, and culturally informed policies necessary to facilitate the safe movement and long-term sustainability of free-ranging Tatanka herds throughout the corridor. And be it further resolved that any agreements, strategies, easements, policies, and efforts developed or undertaken pursuant to this resolution shall be subject to approval of the Tribal Council and shall uphold and respect the inherent sovereignty, treaty rights, cultural values, and jurisdiction of all tribal nations whose ancestral and treaty territories are encompassed within the proposed Tatanka corridor. And be it finally resolved that the Tribal Council hereby authorizes the Oglala Sioux Parks and Recreation Authority and the Oglala Sioux Tribe Land Office to engage in planning, advocacy, partnership, development, and pursuit of funding opportunities and furtherance of the establishment and protection of the Tatanka corridor throughout the Southern Territories of the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1868, subject to approval by the Tribal Council. Certification.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Poyer, second by Councilman Spotted Bear. Roll call.
Conrad Wilsberg,
Yes.
George Gerber Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Lane Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Dave Randall,
Yeah.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yeah.
Unanimous 16, motion carried. Okay, at this time we'll go into
Law and order.
law and order. I'll turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Chairman. First item, we have ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopting a one-time waiver for the calling of the 2026 tribal election and selection, appointment and start date for the 2026 election commission, time periods, and amending the election code section 8-I to correct the months stated in the last sentence. Skipping down to the third whereas Article 4, Section 2 empowers the tribal council to determine the time, place, and manner for tribal elections. And whereas on November 25th, 2025, the tribal council adopted ordinance number 25-40 OST Election Code 2025 revised. And whereas Section 5-A of the 2025 Election Code states, tribal council shall officially call all tribal elections at least 180 calendar days or 6 months before expiration of term of office of its current members. And whereas the 2025 Election Code Section 8.1.1 provides tribal council the option to hire a firm or company or neutral third-party entity in accordance with the tribe's procurement laws at least 6 months prior to the tribal council election. And whereas the tribal council opted to hire a firm or company or neutral third party and advertised a request for proposal, RFP. And whereas only 2 companies responded with an interest but had questions, and after questions were answered, both companies decided not to submit a proposal as the work went beyond the services they provided for elections. And whereas due to the lack of submissions of proposals and time constraints, the tribal council will need to go with the second option as stated in section 8.1.2 of the election code, which is to advertise for letters of intent, which results in a delay in time periods for calling the 2026 OST election and selection, and the selection and the appointment of the election commission. And whereas Section 8I, term of office of commissioners states, the commissioners and the alternate commissioners shall serve for a period of 2 years, term ending March 31st, unless fulfilling an unexpired term. Then in that case, for the remainder of the term, newly appointed will start June 1st, after appointed at a regular May tribal council meeting. And whereas one-time waiver is needed for the start date of the newly appointed due to the above stated delay. However, there is an error in the last sentence of the paragraph for the months stating June and May, and should be corrected to April and March, respectively. And whereas the OST Law and Order Committee has reviewed this matter and recommends to the tribal council authorize and enact a one-time waiver to the time periods for calling the 2026 OST election and selection, appointment, and start date of an election commission to date no later, appointment and start no later than June 9th, and correcting the last sentence in the first paragraph of section 8-I of the election code. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby authorize a one-time waiver of section 5.A of the 2025 election code time period for all calling of the 2026 OST election And a one-time waiver of section 8.1.2, subsection B and C regarding the time periods for the selection and appointment of the 2026 Election Commission. And be it further ordained that the OST Election Code 2025 revised section 8-I, term of office of commissioners, shall be amended to correct the last sentence in the paragraph 1 and shall read as follows, amended in bold. Newly appointed will start April 1st after the appointed at the regular March tribal council meeting, and be it further ordained that their one-time waiver of the start date of April 1st for the election commission and the newly appointed election commissioners for the OST election commission will begin their term immediately after appointing June 9th with their term ending March 31st, 2028. And be it further ordained that a one-time for calling the 2026 tribal election and selection and appointment of the 2026 election commission shall be no later than June 9th. And be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately and shall supersede, repeal, and replace all prior inconsistent laws of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Certification motion.
Okay, hang on, attorney would like to.
So, Rayanne Redow is the attorney for the Law and Order Committee, and she does, can you hear me? Sorry. Rayanne Redow is the attorney for Law and Order, and she did let me know, as you can tell, that the dates in this draft ordinance need to be changed. Right? We're well beyond June 9. It's my understanding that the council still needs to select election commissioners and call the election. So here, it says in the third ordained clause that there's a one-time waiver of the start date of April 1 for the election commission, and the newly appointed commissioners for the 2026 election commission will begin their term immediately after appointment, and it says June 9, with their term ending March 31, 2028. You need to put some new date in there when you anticipate that you will appoint them. I don't know what your expectation is.
Sure. Hey, what kind of question? Go ahead, Councilor Still.
I hope we realize that petitions should be out the first Monday in August, which is practically a month away. And how much applicants do we have so far, Madam Secretary?
HR is the one that's advertising, and she notified us that there was 2 applicants.
2 applicants. So I think we need 3 according to the code, plus 2 alternates. So I think what needs to happen is we need to have a special meeting shortly in order to place the individuals for the commission. Like I said, they're going to have to get a time frame set up according to the code, and petitions need to be out that first Monday in August.
Yeah, so I also want to remind council here, when this was drafted, we lost quorum when it came to law and order. That's why these dates are the way they are, because we lost quorum.
So there's that issue about when the commissioners will be seated, but then there's also the issue of the time period for calling the election. It also says no later than June 9, so you need a new date there. You could say no later than the regular session of the tribal council in July, but I'm not sure that's soon enough. If you have to have petitions out the first week of August, that doesn't give a lot of time.
So, Law and Order is going to have a working session on the 18th. So I don't know if we can do it then.
That's too far.
Okay, it's just a suggestion.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just had a question. Can we be proactive in scheduling a meeting? The HR did say that only 2 completed requirements, but another one came in today. And that would make it 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that we should really be calling the election right now, according to our ordinance. But then now we're to the end of the month, and I really think we should, if we could, have a special next week, and maybe bring the three applicants that applied, and maybe interview them and, make that decision by the council. I really think we should do that, because that way we can start working on the time frame for the upcoming election. And I think the other part of it, President, is that we just recently had the secretarial election, and I was kind of hoping that we could get an update on that to see where we're at with that. I don't know if the superintendent, needs to come and maybe give us an update on it, but I really think we need to do that, because that's going to have some effect on this upcoming election. And I think we need to make some changes. We do need to make some changes. I think our secretary did talk with us last week about that we would probably need to look at some of the things that need to be changed. But we do need to hear from the superintendent as to where we're at with the secretarial election. I think our task force did their part, and I think maybe Mr. Weston here can kind of update us, but we need to know what's going on with that, so that we can start our incoming election commission can start working on those, amendments with the Law and Order Committee. But we should maybe call it for next week, President. I think we need to do that. I don't know if our chair of Law and Order Committee could maybe have a recommendation for next week. That'll be first week in July. So we would need call it how many days ahead, Stacy? 2 days? 2 days. So maybe on our day of Law and Order Committee, maybe that Wednesday, the first week of July, that Wednesday?
8th.
Yeah, the 8th is when we were having our regular committee, so that can be converted to the special.
We can motion it today.
Like as soon as we get done with this one. Well, Chair, I'll go ahead and make that motion to table this until we can meet on the 8th, and then for that special. But I'll motion for the special on July 8th, 2026.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we got a motion by Councilman Weston, second by Councilman Little Hawk Weston. You had a question?
No.
Okay.
Stretching. No hungry.
I'm over here looking at iced coffee mixture.
So, Councilman Little Hawk Weston, you didn't table this, or you didn't second the table?
I'll second the table.
Okay.
I'm trying to get through that. We need to put.
Good. Roll call.
John Rogosberg,
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Old Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
Julianne Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yep.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Buzzer on it.
14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
So now the motion for the special?
Yeah.
Okay. A motion to set up a special for July 8th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Weston, second by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston.
You want to start that
Roll
letter?
call. Hang on, attorney would like to address the council.
Could you just amend the motion to say that it is on this issue?
On the,
Specify what issue the special counsel will be meeting on.
Okay, council will be meeting on the election commission. And the election of the commissioners. And the 2026 election. Still gotta do a letter, right?
yeah.
Roll call.
Donald Mosher,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Charlie Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Old Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
Julian Spotted Bear, yes. Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
yeah, yeah,
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
yeah.
David Poyer,
No.
Thirteen yes, 3 not voting, motion carried.
Okay, one comment I wanted to make was that it's still open to the public to apply for these election commission. We're not closing it or anything, we're just setting up a special meeting to do a selection by then. So I just want to announce that to the public. So. But on to our next item. Stacy, can you read this one?
yes.
My eyes are crossed.
Ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and unincorporated tribe. Ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe amending the OST Criminal Offense Code and revising Section 535 bootlegging. And skip down to the fourth whereas the sale of alcohol is prohibited within the exterior boundaries of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is under a state of emergency due to an increase in violence and criminal activity as accelerated by alcohol and drugs, and whereas the illegal selling of alcohol, bootlegging, and the mixing of alcohol with water or dangerous substances such as antifreeze and rubbing alcohol is resulting in serious injury and death of our tribal members, and whereas the tribal council enacted ordinance number 24-17 on July 16, 2025, establishing section 535 bootlegging of the OST Criminal Offense Code. And whereas the OST Law and Order Committee has determined that section 353 bootlegging should be revised to include more information to guide the decision-making process for the prosecution of bootlegging within the justice system, and has reviewed the proposed ordinance and recommends that the tribal council amend section 535 bootlegging provisions of the OST criminal code as stated herein. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve and amends the OST criminal offense code section 535 bootlegging as to read as follows. Amendments in bold. Section 535 bootlegging. It shall be illegal to sell, serve, furnish any beverage or product containing alcohol for the purpose of ingestion or possession by a human being. Any persons regardless of age shall be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Penalties. Violation of this section shall be a class 1 misdemeanor with a mandatory sentence and fine of 1 year in jail and 5,000 fine, and will be subject to exclusion, banishment in accordance with the laws of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. A criminal charge of bootlegging shall be non-bondable. Section 8, legislative intent. The Oglala Sioux Tribe reaffirms its sovereign authority to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its members. The purpose of this section is to reaffirm the prohibition of alcohol within the exterior boundaries of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Indian Reservation, and to deter and publish the unlawful sale, manufacture, transportation, and possession with intent to sell alcohol on the reservation. Section B, definitions. For purposes of this section, alcohol means ethanol, alcohol, spirits of wine, whiskey, rum, brandy, vodka, gin, beer, ale, porter, wine, hard seltzers, hard cedars, and any distilled, fermented, rectified, or otherwise intoxicating liquor. Any mixture, including clear alcohol, antifreeze, rubbing alcohol, bleach, drugs, or any dangerous substance. B. Reservation means that all lands within the exterior boundaries of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Indian Reservation, including trust lands, allotted lands, rights of way, and dependent Indian communities, as recognized by the Oglala Sioux Tribe. C. Large quantity means a quantity of alcohol beyond amounts consistent with the personal consumption, which may be established by the totality of the circumstances, including but not limited to volume, packaging, and accompanying items. A rebuttable consumption of large quantity arises at 3 or more liters of spirits, or 12 or more of 12-ounce beer containers, or 3 or more liters of wine, or any combination reasonably equivalent to that. The possession includes actual or constructive possession, joint or sole, and requires knowledge of the presence and character of the alcohol. E. Sale or sale means any barter, exchange, transfer, furnishing, or disposition of alcohol for money or anything of value, whether directly or indirectly. C. Section C, bootlegging offenses. A. Sale of alcohol. A person commits the offense of sale of alcohol if the person knowingly sells alcohol in any amount on the reservation. B. Possession of alcohol with intent to sell. A person commits the offense of possession of alcohol with intent to sell if the person knowingly possesses a large quantity of alcohol on the reservation under circumstances indicating intent to sell. C. Transportation of alcohol with intent to sell. A person commits the offense of transportation of alcohol with intent to sell if the person knowingly transports a large quantity of alcohol onto or within the reservation with the intent to sell. Section D. Mental state and elements. A. Sale of alcohol. The tribe must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that 1. The defendant acted knowingly, and 2. The conduct occurred within the reservation, and 3. Alcohol, as defined herein, was the subject of the offense. D. Possession of alcohol with the intent to sell. The tribe must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that 1. The defendant acted knowingly, and 2. The conduct occurred within the reservation, and 3. Alcohol, as defined herein, was the subject of the offense. 4. The tribe must prove possession of alcohol and intent to sell. C. Transportation of alcohol with intent to sell. The tribe must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that 1. The defendant acted knowingly, and 2. The conduct occurred within the reservation, and 3. Alcohol, as defined herein, was the subject of the offense. 4, the tribe must also approve transportation of a large quantity to, into, or within the reservation with intent to sell. Section E, evidentiary provisions regarding intent to sell or manufacture. Number 1, large quantity of circumstantial evidence, possession or transportation of a large quantity of alcohol is circumstantially evident in intent to sell and may give rise to a permissive interference of intent to sell when considered with all other evidence in the case. 2, additional circumstantial evidence. The following, whether singly or combination, may constitute circumstantial evidence of intent to sell alcohol. A, possession of unusual large amounts of U.S. currency or other items of value consistent with illicit retail activity. B, possession of firearms or other weapons in a manner responsibly associated with protection of illegal trade, alcohol trade. C, possession of equipment, supplies, or paraphernalia commonly used to repackage or distribute alcohol, including water bottles, funnels, caps, seals, or similar items. D, possession of water bottles, clear alcohol funnels, or related items in a manner consistent with the manufacturing, repackaging, or disguise of alcohol for illicit sale. And including so-called skips intended to conceal the nature or source of alcohol. E, observed or recorded cash transactions involving alcohol, including controlled buys or sales to or from another person, an undercover law enforcement officer, or a confidential informant, where money or something of value is exchanged for alcohol. F, ledgers, notes, electronic messages, packaging, or other materials indicative of pricing, orders, deliveries, or distribution routes. G, transportation patterns, concealment methods, or storage locations consistent with illicit distribution. Number 3, cash transactions, evidence of a cash or in-kind transaction for alcohol, whether with another person, under cover release, or a confidential informant, as admissible to prove sale or intent to sell. 4, reputation, evidence. Reputation evidence. Reputation or opinion evidence concerning the defendant's character, standing alone, is insufficient to prove any offense under this section. No person shall be convicted under this section based solely on the reputation without collaborating evidence. 5, possession and control for purpose of section 3B, possession of alcohol with intent to sell, and 3C, transportation of alcohol with intent to sell. Possession may be established by showing that the defendant had knowing possession and control, actual or constructive, over the alcohol, including domination over premises, vehicles, containers, or storage locations where the alcohol was found. And be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately and shall supersede, repeal, and replace all prior inconsistent laws of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Certification.
Motion. Stacy, are we gonna have to correct that spelling there? And section E, number 4, collaboration. Section E, number 4.
It's correct as written. Right, corroborating.
Corroborating? Okay,
That's correct.
I don't know, I didn't know if it was.
There are 2 corrections. One, on the first page, ordinance 2417 was enacted July 16, 2024, not 2025. And on the last page, the very last section, possession and control, it should say, for purpose of section big C, parentheses little b, possession of alcohol with intent to sell, and section big C, parentheses little c, transportation of alcohol with intent to sell.
Motion with amendments.
Motion by Councilman Weston. You have a question?
Yes, sir, I had a question. You know, I really enjoy reading some of this stuff, but I guess one of my questions is, if they're caught in a housing house, is there another law that automatically evicts them?
Falls under the housing ordinances or rules of occupancy. That being when you're caught with either drug dealing or bootlegging, the housing has its own rules of occupancy that covers that.
Councilman Still.
You know, I really hope that this ordinance is the one. I don't know how much times we're gonna revise this, because I was told that, you know, the judge is still dropping bootlegging charges against individuals who are caught bootlegging. So I'm hoping that this does happen finally. And, you know, Mr. Kelly's right. It should be a good question, because a lot of the bootlegging is happening in housings, in the cluster housings. I mean, housing would flex your muscles of evicting you for fireworks, but yet nothing's done with the bootleggers and the people selling meth and whatnot. And it's a joke. I got an individual that comes into the housing in his black SUV and bootlegs right out of his vehicle, and nothing done with this individual. So I don't know how much times we're going to present this ordinance, amend it, flex our muscles, and still have these bootleggers in our housing, cluster housings. It's sad to see all these young people in our parks intoxicated all day long. And they don't have rights anywhere else but just right there in the housings. So, you know, that is a good concern for Mr. Kelly is we need to stiffen up on all our policies, even at housing, to get these evictions done if you're bootlegging. Because right now no one's worried, no one's scared, because nothing's happening. It's time that we start pressing down on them. We're losing all these young ones to cirrhosis. So I hope this ordinance does it.
Wonder, is it policy for the PD to inform housing if it's in the cluster? Housing homes?
It's like a MOU or MOA between the two entities to work together.
Yeah, we brought all these different departments together to come up with this, so they're well aware of it. You know, the law enforcement, the judges, everybody. So this should hopefully cover everything. And we also had housing there too. Attorney General, you know, all these entities that are involved at this working session to come up with this ordinance.
Yeah, I hope this, and I agree, I hope this is a catch-all policy here that's gonna work. Is, you know, we all catch hell for these issues, so we'll have to see how this turns out. Councilman Still, did you second that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, so roll call.
Don Rogosberg,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Steve Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer,
14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
So our next item, which is in your packet, the OSN Supreme Court Chief Justice applicant letter on the intent. And this one here, I believe, is to vote on whether or not to accept. The letter is from the HR director, so they have been vetted. Is it just one person? Yep. The only one that applied. Is she on Zoom?
You talk to him yet? It doesn't matter. Have you given her the Sonia yet? We gotta put her through the Sonia first.
Daniel McQuillan?
Not Sonia.
Is it you?
Yeah, educated woman there.
Motion.
Second.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Motion.
Is she tribal member?
Yeah. Right out here beside me, remember?
Yeah.
Your dad's Anthony.
Anthony, that's 34. Yeah.
He was a professor at the college.
Yep.
Sonia.
Yeah, used to be Danny's.
You're good, blessing it.
Sonia, good.
We'll have to see when she's adjusted.
We're asking you.
She has to go through the Sonia still, she said, that's it. So you gotta go through the Sonia.
So, Tribal Council, looks like she applied for the position of Chief Justice or Associate Justice.
Alternate.
So, you know, you can appoint her as a justice to the court, and then you can, and I think you have 2 justices right now,
Yeah.
and you can make a decision about which of those 3 will be the Chief Justice. Or you could, you know, I suppose if you don't have an active Chief Justice, you could appoint her as the Chief Justice. That's up to you.
Well, I think that's what the letter was for, right? The Chief Justice?
It says or alternate associate justice positions,
Would she be the
so.
only Oglala on that?
Should be the only, the other 2 are non.
Mr. Chair,
Make her chief then.
my motion is to appoint her as the Chief Justice.
Chief, yeah. And she's the only Oglala
Okay,
member.
so, motion by Councilman Still, second by Councilman Weston.
Well, she's enrolled in Oneida Nation.
But her mother, her grandmother.
Mom and them.
Roll call.
Enrolled here and they're-
Donner Gosper,
all you know votes.
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Yeah.
Troy Little,
Is that done?
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Oh.
Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yeah.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
Getting around, what are you doing?
So, our next item, Councilman Steele, I'll turn this over to you because, we really didn't know what you said for your motion to bring it here to council. And I'll let you explain.
Okay. So what it was in Law and Order was, there's 3 of our district members, community members from Wounded Knee that were murdered in Rapid City in the last couple years here. And to date, our families in Wounded Knee still haven't got any answers from anyone in Rapid City, whether it be the police department, the state's attorney, or, even the mayor's office, somebody, but, our people, they want answers. And so, I'm asking for support from the tribal council and the tribal president, if we can write a letter to all those entities requesting some kind of status as to what's going on with these individual cases that are still, up in the air and have no, our people feel lost, they're still in mourning, and I know, the mothers are hurt, grandmothers, and so all I'm asking is for support from the council and the president to send a letter to the state's attorney's office, mayor's office, anyone that we could get answers for. And it's Leon Richards, Lathan Lucero, and Josh Hatchett. All 3 of those members are from Wounded Knee community. And in that Law and Order meeting, Mr. Poyer asked to include Mr. Wilson Coleman III on there. And so, my motion would be to have a letter drafted by the president of the tribe to send to those entities requesting a status on those cases for our tribal members and our families that, have no answers so far. And, they want some justice done. They want some justice for their loved ones, and they're not getting no answers, so that'll be my motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Councilman Steele. Second by Councilman Kelly. Roll call.
Garfield, can you state those names again for the record, because they're different from what's stated on the agenda?
Yeah, it's Leon Richards, Lathan Lucero, Josh Hatchett, and Wilson Coleman III.
Hey, what's John Carlos? Can you put Pat Barlow in there too?
What is this, a separate piece?
Still, it doesn't matter.
Let's do a separate motion. Let's do a separate motion.
We'll go to Saturday.
These are all the state levels.
Those are state taxes, federal, we still need to look into it.
Yeah, that's what I said, we're gonna do a separate motion on that.
I will.
Donroy Gosper,
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Steve Randall,
Yep.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
14 yes, do not vote, motion carried.
Mr. Dillon.
I would like to include Mr. Pat Carlo in a letter to the FBI, so the family can at least know what's going on in that investigation, because it's been almost 2 years now and they get very little, if any, feedback at all. And I think that isn't fair to the families that are victimized by senseless crimes, and the least the FBI can do is contact the family and let them know that it's being investigated. It's not laying on somebody's desk and nothing's happening. So that'd be my motion, that we include that, a letter to the FBI as well.
Motion by Councilman Dillon, second by Councilman Greenwald. Roll call.
Can you add, is that out of the Rapid City U.S. Attorney's Office?
Yes, yes, it is.
Can we do it to the
Yeah.
U.S. Attorney's Office?
U.S. Attorney's Office, and then I think the FBI needs to be notified too by that, because they're the ones that do the investigation and turn it over to the U.S. attorneys, and a lot of times there's nothing going on. So maybe that U.S. attorney needs to kick somebody in the rear and get things done, or at least continued or acted upon. And what's that little boy's name?
Logan Boyd, remember they just recently put out a $50,000 reward.
That tree is coming
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon, do you think if the tribe wrote the letter to Greg Peterman,
That would be a positive.
would he then, you know, carry the water and find out from the FBI
What's going on?
Yeah.
People say at least it's continuing or something, you don't get nothing.
Roll call.
John Randolph,
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross,
Yep.
Garfield Steele,
Yeah.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Norman Standing
Yes.
Soldier, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Steve Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yeah.
where everybody is?
16 unanimous, motion carried.
Our next item from Law and Order, ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe rescinding ordinance number 26-1 and reestablishing the process in ordinance number 25-14, revised exclusion and removal code section 2-6, subsection E. Skipping down to the fourth whereas. Whereas on April 30th, 2025, the Tribal Council enacted ordinance 25-14, revised exclusion and removal code that amended prior ordinances and includes the grounds and procedures for banishment from the lands of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas on January 21st, 2026, the Tribal Council adopted ordinance number 26-1 and amended ordinance number 25-14 in section 2-6, subsection E, by changing the hearing process to have hearings by tribal council special session due to hearings taking up too much time in regular session. And whereas the amended process is determined to be ineffective due to the inability of established to establish quorum for the special session. And whereas the Law and Order Committee has reviewed the matter and recommends that ordinance number 26-01 be rescinded, that exclusion and banishment hearings revert to the process as stated in ordinance 25-14 under subsection 2-6, subsection E, and maintain the amended language regarding charges and crimes in the last sentence as stated in ordinance number 26-01. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby rescind ordinance number 26-01, but maintains the amended wording for charged and for crimes stated within this code in the last sentence and reestablishes the processes in ordinance 25-14, revised exclusions and removal code section 2-6 subsection E, which now read as follows. Deletions instructed. So A, section 2-6 subsection E, on or before the second Tuesday of the month, the tribal secretary shall notify all persons whose names on the list prepared by the legal department that they will be on the agenda of the regular session of the tribal council for proposed exclusion and banishment from the reservation based on their convictions for a dangerous drug offense, homicide, unlawful sale of alcohol, or sexual offense requiring registration on a sex offender registry or embezzlement. Such notice shall be made on each person by hand delivery or certified United States mail, return receipt requested to the person's last known address. Such notice shall also be posted at the Red Cloud Tribal Administration Building in Pine Ridge and at the Oglala Sioux Tribal Justice Center in Pine Ridge and published in the Lakota Times or another newspaper of general circulation on the reservation. The notice shall inform each person that he or she may appear before the tribal council and be heard on the proposed exclusion and banishment from the reservation. The person may present evidence that he or she was not charged or convicted of crime as stated within the code, or that his or her conviction was overturned. And be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately and shall supersede, repeal, and replace all prior inconsistent laws of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Certification. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Weston. Second by Councilman Randall. Roll call.
Governor Colesberg,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
James Cross, Garfield Still,
Yep.
Jillian Spotted Bear, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder, David Kelly,
Yes.
Dean Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer,
13 yes, 3 not voting, motion carried.
Our last item, ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, amending ordinance number 18-22 as amended to provide for paid family leave, skipping down to the fourth whereas. Whereas paid family leave has significant health impacts on children and families, as well as reduce the financial hardships on employees in caring for their families. And whereas paid family has been shown to benefit the community by reducing child abuse and providing stronger early childhood development. And whereas the provision of paid family leave through the tribe will assist in combating the current socio-economic disparities faced by the community members of the Oglala Sioux tribe. And whereas the Tribal Council enacted ordinance number 18-22 adopting the Personnel and Procedures Manual on August 16, 2018. And whereas the Finance Committee reviewed the proposed amendments on the PPPM at duly called meeting on May 14, 2026, and recommended the proposed amendment to provide paid family leave and referred it to Law and Order Committee after legal review. Whereas the proposal was reviewed by the Finance Committee attorney as to form and following said review, the Law and Order Committee reviewed the proposed to amend the PPPM at the duly called meeting on June 3rd, 2026, and recommends adoption of the proposed amendments to the PPPM to provide for paid family leave. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve amending the OST Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual and adopted by the ordinance number 18-22, August 16, 2018, as amended, and amend section 25-19, maternity leave, to read as follows. Section 25-19, paid family leave. A parent who is a permanent employee has been employed at least 6 continuous months is allowed to use no more than 12 weeks of accumulated sick leave for the birth of a child and bonding period with a newborn or an adopted or foster kinship child within a year after the birth or placement of a child. Paid family leave provides eligible employees with paid leave following the birth or placement of a child for adoption. If both parents work for the tribe, both parents are eligible to take PFL. At the same time, are not required to do so. PFL is intended to help parents with the means to spend critical bonding time with their child. PFL does not deplete an employee's accrued sick or vacation leave. The weeks do not have to be consecutive if the leave is taken within a year of birth or adoption/placement. However, the leave must be used in 1 week increments for a total of 12 weeks. Any hours of the PFL not used during the week the employee takes PFL will be lost. If a holiday, administrative leave, or intermittent work are performed in the week, the remainder of the hours not worked will be PFL, and 1 week will be used. Vacation and/or sick leave cannot be used in lieu of PFL. Supervised approval is required to use intermittent leave. Example 1, the parents could simultaneously take 12 weeks off following the birth. Example 2, one parent could take the first 12 weeks off and the other parent could take 12 weeks off. Example 3, with permission of the supervisor, the mother could take 6 weeks off following the birth and then work mornings for 12 weeks. If a holiday falls during one of the weeks of the PFL is used, there will be no additional pay for that holiday. Annual and sick leave are not occurred while using PFL. PFL is not available for surrogates, gestational carriers, or parents who have stillborn babies in the unfortunate event of a baby's passing or death when an employee is on PFL, the PFL will no longer be available the week following the baby's death. If the child is removed from placement with the parent, the PFL will no longer be available. This is due to the PFL existing for bonding with the baby. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately and shall supersede, repeal, or replace all prior inconsistent laws of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Certification, motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Weston, second by Councilwoman Roth. Question, go ahead, Councilman Calvin.
You know, after the read, I guess I do have a couple questions because parent one will get 12 weeks with pay without having to use their annual or sick leave. And then the second parent will also get the same 12 weeks without having to use their annual or sick leave. So what's going to be the cost on the tribe to pay for 24 weeks is my question per individual.
I guess that would depend on their salary.
I had a question.
Are you done, Dave?
Yeah, I'm done, thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Is this something that has changed to the federal FMLA, or is this something that was just brought from upstairs, or from employees, or was there a change in something with the federal law that's out there already?
No, I don't think so.
Attorney or anybody?
Do you know who worked on that one there, Councilman?
What's her name? The vice president's office, that, what's her name? Cindy.
Yeah.
With their workers. Moving forward.
I'm just wondering, I think it's always good practice to stay within your federal guidelines, just because most of our stuff are contracts to the federal government. So I'm just not sure if that's, I was just wondering, I didn't know if it was something from the federal office that came down or what.
Councilman Dreamer?
Thank you, Chair. So it says permanent employees, it's not political, it's just for permanent employees only. So we have some member, medical employees.
I guess Rayanne said it was brought forth by the Vice President.
Yeah. To walk it.
Chihuahua.
Steve, is there much of a difference from the federal family leave act in this one, or we expanding it, or what?
I'll have to look, but I think federal FMLA is largely unpaid, but it is not something that you can be terminated for. I mean, you get to take that time off in a position where it's open, but it is, but I don't want to give you bad advice, but that's what I'm reading right now. Tony Montalano was texting me to say that federal leave is only unpaid. And I did look at whether there have been any recent changes in federal or South Dakota law on this subject, and I don't see any. But this would be your tribal policy.
Are you done? Councilman Randall?
I think when we asked those questions, when they were reading this, it was more based on family bonding, family relationships. It wasn't financial or it wasn't laws. It was just based on bonding with families and stuff like that. So the discussion was had before the questions were asked.
Go ahead.
So 12 weeks for the first parent, that's 3 months. 12 weeks for the second parent, another 3 months. So the baby's 6 months old by now. That's a lot of bonding.
Where does it come out of? What money is it come out of? Admin leave?
Program.
Remember, they have to approve the leave, so they have like 4 hours of annual, 4 hours of sick. Like the question that, remember?
No, it's
By the
just,
time they get to that, you have to build that up in order to take it, because you don't just get it free. You have to have your sick leave, your annual leave. You have to use that first before otherwise if you don't have no more leave, it goes to leave without pay.
no, that says paid leave.
Well, that was coming from the Chihuahua grant, from Cindy Geico. So we should maybe table it.
Secretary has a comment.
Just from my own experience, I wanted to convey this to you guys. I utilized the Federal Medical Leave Act when I worked for the federal government. And it was during the time where I had my special needs child. And what happened was that during that time, I used my annual leave up, that I was annual leave and second sick leave. And then I wanted, because she was hospitalized, I was able to use the Federal Medical Leave Act. And I wasn't in danger of losing my job, but I wasn't also paid for the hours. I was afforded the time away, but they weren't paid. I exhausted all my sick leave and annual leave. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's how it works in the federal government, yeah.
Chair, due to the amount of questions and kind of, this whole ordinance here, I'll change my motion to table it for further review and then bring it back.
Okay. Motion to table by Councilman Weston, second by Councilwoman Lilhawk. Weston. Roll call.
Scott Roscoe,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Cole Little Whiteman,
Yes.
James Cross,
No.
Garfield Still, Julian Spotted Bear, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly, Beef Randall,
No.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
David Poyer.
13 yes, 2 no, 1 not voting. Motion carried.
Thank you, Chair. That's all from Law and Order.
Okay. So at this time, I think we'll recess till tomorrow.
Only have one sandwich.
Can we do two, transportation? We have Hunter sitting here most of the day.
Transportation.
Don't you say, don't you explain, she said they don't do it like that, they don't have to, because they're not going to do it.
Sitting here since 6 this morning.
All right, well, I guess.
Five this morning.
Okay, we'll go ahead and allow that,
Two of them.
okay? At this time, I'll turn it over to you, EBD Chair.
Vice Chair. Well, Steve, can you read your resolutions? Or Secretary? We'll finish the rest tomorrow.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Well, can't you do it just tomorrow?
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
We have a full council then.
Why, you know,
Why not just get it done?
I'm okay with whatever the council was, Chair, if they want to do at least two of them.
Okay, well, we'll give her the floor, I guess.
Okay. Steve, can you read the first resolution?
Yeah, I'll do the first one. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving route maintenance classification for the attached list of BIA tribal routes. And we'll skip down to, this is missing also the sovereignty clause, so we'll insert that.
He's still here.
I'll skip down to the third whereas. Proper upkeep and maintenance of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation roads is vital to the safety of the tribal members and to the economy and welfare of the tribe. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is tasked with the construction, improvement, maintenance, and repair of BIA tribal roads within the Pine Ridge Reservation, and whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe may designate any road on the BIA and tribal route system minimum maintenance if the Oglala Sioux Tribe determines that the route or a segment of the route is used only occasionally or intermittently for passenger or commercial travel. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe may designate any road on the tribal route system that has no maintenance that is used less than a minimum maintenance route. And whereas the tribe's Department of Transportation, BIA road maintenance, and Lone Steam Motor Fields have reviewed and approved the attached list as route maintenance classifications, and whereas a public meeting was held on November 6, 2025 at 11:00 a.m. at the OST DOT, Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and whereas there were no objections or comments received at the public meeting, and whereas a list of routes and maps were provided for public review, and the same list of routes is attached to and incorporated herein by reference. And whereas the Economic and Business Development Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe met on the 13th day of February 2026 and voted to approve the attached list of routes maintenance classifications. And whereas the Tribal Council has considered the matter and determined that it is in the best interest of the tribe to approve the road maintenance classifications. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe does hereby approve the attached list of routes maintenance classification certification.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cross, second by Councilman Kelly. Roll call.
George Jr. Troy Little,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Yep.
Garfield Steele,
Yep.
Julian Spotted Bear, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Twelve yes, 3 not voting, motion carried. Go ahead.
Sergeant at Arms, can you give us a count of council members?
One, two, three, four, five.
I can do that. Council members present.
12, 13 present.
How much?
13.
So, Councilman, you question quorum?
Yes, we have to. It's happened before, and we're not gonna fall out of favor with everybody because we can't hold quorum.
Okay.
Who's in the bathroom?
Check the bathroom.
They all left?
Mr. Chair, can you do a roll call vote?
Buzz on the Jeremy Rosales is excused, Garfield Steele,
Here.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Here.
Troy Little,
Here.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Here.
David Poyer,
Here.
Jillian Spotted Bear, David Kelly,
Present.
Lyle Weston,
Present.
Jackie Sears is excused, Beef Randall,
Here.
Donner Gosper, left is excused, Anna Halverson is excused, Blaine Little Thunder,
Here.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Here.
George Streamer Jr., Bo Little White Man, James Cross,
Present.
Ryan Jumping Eagle is excused, Tyler Lunderman is excused, Craig Dillon,
To the bitter end, yes, I'm here.
Can you announce who left?
Yeah.
Boss has to stay and eat that bologna up.
Sure.
Easy.
How many you got excused for tomorrow? Will you make quorum? How many you excuse for tomorrow?
So far, nobody yet.
Okay.
Hey,
Roll call in.
9:30 is good.
David said you're starting. 12 present, 2 absent, 7 is excused. He lost quorum. Okay, so with that being said, we will resume tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
That's a individual.
Turn it off.